we're recording now. Hi.
Oh, shit! Hi! Oh, I'm not dressed. Don't look at me. I need to throw on my
Everyone
gear.
look at him. Look at this man and mock him in his shame.
No, I need to be properly attired.
Shame.
Hold on.
Shame. Ding ding.
No, do not shame me.
Shame. Ding ding. How long can we drag out the Game of Thrones bit?
I don't know, how long does the scene go for?
Too long?
Well, there you go then. That's how long we're gonna drag this out for.
It's this video. Oh.
Oh, I heard your disappointment.
I hear O's.
I must rant a little bit about this gentleman.
Oh.
You know that Dusak that I showed you? That I spend at least 4 days on, that like literally blister my hands every time I make?
Oh?
I sent 2 of them to him for testing 3 months ago.
Oh.
He has
Lore.
not given me any, anything at all. And yet he still uses the Dusak sent to him by one of his friends, which are, and I must say, inferior products. And I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm saying that because it's true. And it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like it.
No, that's best faith scenario that I could think of is that the Deus Ex got lost in transmission, because that actually happens a surprising amount of times.
I know, but I confirmed with him, and well, at least he liked the message, so there's that.
Oh.
Either way, there is Shad, so I might send my Deus Ex all the way over to fucking Australia for someone to see him, but...
Well, it's funny that you say that.
Okay, I'm dressed now.
Because, you might, you might get an inkling as to who this video's about, even though it never directly mentions anyone.
Yeah, no, I know. I know that whole drama, and I'm on neither side. I'm laughing at either of them.
Yeah, they're both kind of retarded, but there are some arguments that are made in this video that I think that we can address, and, because, you know, they stand on their own 2 feet, even without the context of attacking other creators.
Yeah.
And...
Without being a silly Billy, yes.
Yes, exactly. And I think that we can actually look at the validity of the arguments as they stand on their own 2 feet, with or without the evidence, because they don't stand all that well. And most of the drama between today's subject and Shad, at this point, anyone that's paid attention, they're going to know who it is.
Yeah, it's ego-driven.
Most of the drama between these two is, yes, ego-driven, and also just really a series of misunderstandings. It's like, well, sure, if you look at it that way, then yes, that is what they're saying. But if you look at it this way, they're probably trying to say this. And both of you are just conveying valid points in very poor ways, and neither of you have the humility to step back and say, you know, maybe I was wrong about a couple things. But to be fair, with internet drama, I think, because I've seen this happen several times, I think what happens is that you have to have some level of ego to actually go out and try being a YouTuber, and also when someone's fan base is in the thousands and they don't like your video, they're going to let you know, and you're going to get thousands of comments, and it does not matter what the original content creator says, does not matter how, you know, saint-like they are, fan bases are rabid packs of dogs. And they're the people that make it worse, every time. This is why I try to not coalesce with the fans of the things that I like. So, yeah, does everyone know the rules of Watch Together? We all have... Oh.
You cut off halfway in the middle of your sentence.
Which sentence?
Well, middle of your, I guess, statement, not sentence.
Basically, I was going on about how, they're both ego-driven, and fan bases ruin everything by being so much worse than the people that they follow.
Oh yeah.
And that's
I'm dressed now, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Look at me in my proper attire.
Oh, he's fancy. Ooh, spooky. He's got that 1920s drip going. Anyway,
Very hot where I'm from.
Wait, did you
Hamoud?
just make
Should
an
we call you
Ethiopia
Hamoud
joke?
today?
Yeah, call me
No,
Hamoud.
hell.
Oh.
Okay,
A ball of
Mr.
steak on
Hell.
my face.
Mr. Hell.
Hamoud, do you know the rules of Watch Together? How it functions?
I do not know. I do not know.
Okay, so each of us can drag and drop the bar, or we can click on the play pause button. You know, each and every one of us in this room can do that. There is not one thing that one of us can do that the others can't.
Okay.
So if you
So
ever
just
have,
be respectful to not like touch anything, or to only touch stuff when I'm making a point, something like that.
yeah. So like, pause the video when you feel the urge to make a joke or to, respond to something that someone says or anything. So that's that way we can try and have as fair a discussion as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
Touch nothing but the lamp.
All right, I'm touching the play button.
I get it. I'm Middle East.
Middle East. We have East and Middle East. Awesome.
You want to touch my magic carpet?
I've been struggling with whether or not I should make this video for a while. I've gone back and forth on the pros and cons, and I've come to the conclusion that
Oh, damn it.
No. I was there. My voice wasn't connected.
Yes.
If you ever
he
see
was
me
here.
drop out and come back in, just don't forget about it. It's just
Yeah, it's been a consistent problem, but I also kind of want to keep you in the loop. So,
yeah,
we'll take it as it goes. These things happen here.
it is a valuable piece of information that I can impart to the community. And today we are discussing the current state of Sword Media Online.
What do you guys think of Sword Media Online? Not Sword Art Online. That's garbage. Sword Media Online.
Hey,
someone
hey,
that
hey,
participates-
hey. You're right.
As someone that participates in Sword Media Online, not great. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. You can hardly find anything that isn't German or Italian. Everything that's like, Fiore or Lichtenauer, all that stuff's been covered. But if you want anything that's like different, whereas like Middle Eastern or Indian technique, you would have to do a whole lot of digging, and even then you could hardly find anything. It's not great, and that's why I've been struggling to make videos, but also the videos that I do make are only about Middle Eastern topics for the most part.
Like how to fly a plane.
All right, you.
They had planes in the medieval era?
Yes.
Wow. Shit, why didn't I know about that?
I was there.
Yeah, they also had severely lacking intelligence, as shown here.
What do you mean had?
Exactly.
uh,
I can bite back, motherfucker.
Welcome to come, Ahmud. Welcome.
It's
Welcome
good
to
to be
come.
here, gentlemen. It's good to be here.
I don't mean to derail this, but it's why I thought it was so funny when you entered Triscuit's server and like the conversation between us was just so cordial.
Mhm.
And the whole time I'm thinking, man, this is gonna fall the fuck apart as soon as we get in a call.
No, I'm willing to be cordial if all of you are willing to be cordial. But
Yes,
I will
of
fight back.
course.
yes, we must, in order to be cordial, we must be British.
Make sure that when you hit the
What,
play
would you like
pause
me to
button,
speak
you
like
have
this?
one pinky raised.
I could also speak like this. What are you trying to say?
What the? Why are you running?
It is not African, you dog. It is Middle Eastern. It is Arab.
Well, calling me dog just because I'm African?
Oh no, I didn't. Oh.
That's racist.
Oh.
Really?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you calling me African just because I'm a dog?
No, I feel like the topic has been derailed.
Uh, circling back, I pretty much agree with what you said, Hamoud, about
I am back.
fuck you, that was funny. But
This is my favorite episode we've ever done.
I think I might just change the accent. I like it. It's very nice.
So as I was saying, I kind of agree with what you were saying about how we really tend to have like a focus on specifically Italian and German sources because, let's be fair, those are both culturally and academically the most prominent sources for historical sword fighting. But you know, where are the Viking
European
manuals?
sword fighting.
Well,
Historical
yes.
European sword fighting, and that's another thing I would say, because HEMA, historical European martial arts, you can see where there's like very Eurocentric.
Mhm.
That's why what I try to do is outside the realm of European manuals, which is very, very difficult to find, but when it is found, which I have found actually, it's a bit of a side note, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I did find a manual that's from Turkey, or the
Ooh.
Ottoman Empire specifically, from the 16th century.
Nice.
And I've been applying a lot of those techniques, so next time I'm at fair, I'm going to kick some very specific people's asses.
Nice. Nice. I think I know who you're talking about. But there is also, like, even just within a strictly European purview, what about the Saxons, the Vikings, or the French per se, before the Renaissance?
Are you kidding me? Oh,
Well, the French aren't that bad.
What was the last thing you heard?
I was talking. I don't even. What was the last thing you guys heard?
Oh, the last thing I heard was that you're gonna kick some Renaissance fair ass.
Oh my god! I said like 2 whole sentences after that. Oh,
Oh, oof.
you know, it was not important. Continue. We should
Okay. Even within a strictly European purview, what about all the French sources? What about Viking or Anglo-Saxon sources?
Well, even with Anglo-Saxon sources, they are quite limited, unfortunately.
Yeah, and what about even? There's a lot of overlap between Middle Eastern and European sources in Spain because Spain was, weren't they an Islamic territory for like 300 years?
I would say that the use of the rapier derives from the Moroccan use of the what's it called, the zinet. So the rapier is actually from Morocco.
Really?
Marrakesh. Yes.
See,
If
I
you look
thought.
up the Jeanette, do you guys look stuff up on this channel? Is that like
I will try and find it. Actually, I can do an image search. How's it spelled?
look up Jinete, Jeanette, or Zini, like it doesn't matter. I'm sure you can find it. It's a very specific type of sword.
That is. I don't think that's what that's supposed to be.
Let me look up something. Moroccan Jeanette. It was in all caps. Oh, I see. It's a horseman.
Yeah.
Let me look up Spanish Zinet. Because they stole it. No, not a woman. What? Oh my god. Hold on. Jeanette.
Oh, the
sword.
Moors. I'm seeing
Yes,
some.
yes.
Okay, it kind of
Uh,
looks a little bit like a jian, like a Chinese jian.
Yes, this was I would say, the predecessor to modern day rapiers, especially Spanish rapiers. Because if you look at the handle construction, imagine having a crossguard to that and then adding more layers. And you see how thin the blade is, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is essentially an early rapier, and it was used as such.
Actually, I could see, swords a la Portuguese. It's quite literally exactly what you're describing with the
Yeah.
the blade and the crossguard. I mean, the handle's rotted away because it's a
Oh yeah.
actual historical one, but still, yeah, I can see the evolution there. That's neat. I thought the rapier was more derived from just put a swept hilt on an S-stock, but that's no, that's actually really illuminating.
The S-stock actually came from the rapier. It was
Really,
a combination of a rapier and a longsword. It's very, very interesting.
Ah, okay.
Guys, Mill Titties is here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Amen.
Okay, I got it. Figured it out.
Excellent.
Fucking finally.
We were going off
How
on a
are you, my
tangent
friend?
about swords, and we actually kind of agree that sword media on YouTube specifically is a little limited, actually. It's mostly European, like 2 European sources and katanas. And like, who the fuck knows what a
Even
talwar
katanas, you
is
can't even
outside
find
of...
good sources for that.
Yeah, who the fuck knows what a talwar is outside of Sword Art Online abridged fans?
Me.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my sword.
You're the
That's
one
the sword
motherfucker
of
that
my
knows
people.
that
What are you
is.
talking about?
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, in general. Or so few people know what a Jian is. I've seen, like, one channel dedicated to Chinese swords, but they're not very active, and I've seen beyond that, like, 2 or 3 videos. And I've done, not deep digging, but I've done a fair amount of searching. I should be able to find more than that.
Tried looking it up, yeah.
Yeah. Especially with, like, these swords are wonderful. I've got a couple on my rack right here. Like, they're wonderfully balanced. They're weighty, like a longsword, but they're very nimble, like what people imagine
Yes.
a rapier being.
I can confirm that Trisket has a very weighty rack.
Thank you. You like my rack?
Fuck off.
Oh
I just want to
my.
talk about swords. Why must you be gay?
Well, yeah, I can kind of see that, but I think it's mostly just because of like just cultural biases of where you happen to be and whatnot.
Mhm.
I would agree with you 110%.
I'd imagine it'd be the same thing if we went out like far east or whatnot. In Japan, it's probably all about the katana and hardly anything about you. Probably no one's there has ever even heard of like a falcata or a zifos or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, they
But-
might know more about the tachi than we do.
Mostly what it has to do with
I mean,
it.
of course they do. That's their ancestral swords.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my background is, like, more subcontinent towards the Middle East. I'm from sort of that entire area. So the swords that I know are... okay, let's have a thought experiment. When you think of the word sword, what is the first sword that comes into your mind?
Longsword.
Okay?
Gladius.
East.
My
Gladius
dick.
East. Okay. For me, it is the Shamshir, or the Killich. Because
Okay.
each of us are, like, when we grew up, we had different media shown to us, right? From
Right.
a very, very early age.
Hmm.
So that's why talwar just means sword. That's why pulwar just means sword. That's why saif just means sword. It's not like the type of sword, right? It just means the word sword. Like gladius, I studied Latin. Gladius
Right.
simply means sword. Sparta
It literally
simply
just
means
means
sword.
sword.
What happened?
Oh, I was just saying, like, it literally just means sword.
Yeah,
Like,
you two
exactly.
spoke the same words in unison, which is bizarre to hear on Discord.
Great minds,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it just means the word sword. So it is our personal understandings of the word that, I guess, turned this into like a bias sort of thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they color our expectations.
Exactly. Like, I don't like straight swords. I like curved swords.
Why don't you
Please
like
make
things
the
that are
jokes now.
straight?
Please make the jokes now.
Why don't you like things that are straight? I got something curved for you.
I am the conservative Muslim here. Please.
Hey,
do not
Ahmud,
try this
Ahmud.
joke with me.
Hey, Hamoud, guess what? Guess what? It's not gay if you don't consent.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
God damn it.
Your honor will remain intact.
If you say so.
Anywho.
Astaghfirullah wal-azim.
I feel like I need to go to
Anywho.
church after that one.
I'm sorry, God. Take me back. I don't want to be with this weirdo anymore.
So, yeah.
Shall we continue? To
Greek
the-
man,
to the-
would you rather we call you by your real name or your screen name?
Mill titties.
Probably just screen name for now.
But how do we pronounce the screen name? Like it's
Mil- Mill tietz?
Miltietes. Is it
Miltietis.
Latin?
Okay.
Mill
Thank
tietz.
you, Mr. Mill.
I'm gonna call you Millie. It's a pretty name.
Wait, is the name Latin? Is it supposed to be Milites?
Miltiades. Like the one one of the heroes from Marathon. Miltiades.
I see.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, our main man's well, people know who you are. I plugged your channel in our Baldur's Gate video.
Oh. Well,
So-
okay. Yeah, cat's
Yeah.
out of the bag on that one. Yes.
Hey, your movies deserve to be seen, man.
I know. It's just like I just wasn't sure. It's like, oh, well.
So, but I just like I would rather know which you're more comfortable with.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I will call you Milos.
There we go.
Yes, Milos.
All right, Mr. Milos, Mr. Miles, the man who run miles, because marathon, that's how that works.
I feel like every fucking time we settle on what he wants to be called, somebody else just adds a new one. We're just never going to get to the end of it.
You know,
His name's gonna be Mike by the time we get to the end of the episode.
Also, I want to point out that both of the black men have arrived about half an hour late.
Excellent.
yo.
That one black guy. How do I say this name? Like, black guy?
We just call
But
him
wait a minute.
Rogar.
there's more than one black guy, and there's more than those just those guys. We got T-Pain and Fetty in here.
That's
Wait,
true,
Rogar
that's
or
true.
Rhaegar?
No, Rogar. It's like
Oh,
Rogan,
so not
but
the
with
guy
an
from
R.
Game of Thrones. Okay.
Oh, we've been over this.
Rhaegar. Very interesting name.
All right, so
Apologies.
hey,
very much.
it's all good. It's all
Oh.
good.
Rogar, you're in a call with me. You have nothing to apologize for.
Milos,
Fair
Rogar,
point.
feel free to get into the watch together. And East Hamud, what do you guys think? Should we bring it back a good 17 seconds, get
Yeah,
them
yeah, I would-
sort
I
of
would say
introduced,
so.
or should we
Yes, but only 17. They shouldn't have to see that first second. It was the worst one.
Oh, hang on. Is this the thing with Cell Sword Arts and what's his Shad
University.
Yes.
thing? Oh
We are
God,
responding to
I've
the
seen.
initial-
Yeah, we had the exact same reaction.
Oh boy.
We had the same
Oh
reaction.
boy.
Yeah, we are responding to the original video because even bereft of context surrounding Shad, I think that
Yeah.
there are arguments that are made in here that we can still address.
Well, I mean, Shad has already done a majority of the arguments we could do, but all right, I'm here for it.
Yes, but
40 minutes
he's
of
also
yapping,
ego,
yes.
ego what?
Egomaniac.
He's also got a fat
Egomaniac?
ego that he doesn't like setting aside, and he does incorrectly address some of the arguments, I think.
If my sash was that short, I wouldn't draw attention to myself, pal.
And now I would
What?
say no disrespect to Shad
Yes.
or to David from Sellsword. I respect both of them. I like what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't appreciate the conflicts that they have. I think it's silly.
Yes.
It is very silly. It's very stupid.
Yeah, just
However, I will say this:
This is kind of silly. This is kind of
this-
stupid,
this-
honestly.
this David dude is a bit of a problem. Like, I won't say that like he's like
Have you interacted
How do
with
I- no, but I have read the comments. He's
yeah.
yeah.
hmm I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So he does seem to be, just by the comments, I have not interacted with the man personally, but he does seem to be, how do I word this without sounding like an ass?
Fruity.
Yeah.
No.
Well, not just that.
Fruity means gay, bud.
Not just that.
I wouldn't know about Fruity. I mean, I've interacted.
I don't know about. I don't know
over
about
this.
that.
Never agree with me.
No, he does seem to be a bit of a dick.
Yeah, he's got an ego. Which, I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, if you're gonna start a YouTube channel, you kind of have to have a little bit of an ego.
I've
Not
interacted
really.
with Sellsword for business purposes, and having spoken to him, he seemed like very calm and very genuine. But I think that in regards to a lot of this sort of stuff, he's very ego-driven. I don't have anything mean to say about him. My interactions with him were all very pleasant, but
In regards to his take on you can't talk about the art if you don't practice the art.
I
You
mean,
absolutely
this
can.
guy wears armor. I've gotten my
You-
ass handed to me unarmored. Like,
Also,
what are you talking about?
you absolutely can talk about the art. You can literally it's literally just observation.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
and
can-
we
you
will.
can-
But he does bring up a point where you have to, like, having practiced the art myself, I would say Trisket could attest to that.
Yes.
When you wear armor, you have a false sense of security. You have a false sense of security. So if you see the way that he fights is very aggressive, and the reason for that is because he knows he's not going to get hurt permanently. I get hurt permanently.
the whole
Like
point of that equipment.
I've had times where I've had my I would say thumb almost like removed. Yeah, and I do it with like the purpose of not trying to get hit. Like I want to hit you without being hit myself. That's the way that I try to fight. That's the way you're supposed to fight, especially unarmored.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
Right.
that is a
Avoid
very
those.
valid criticism of the sport of HEMA. It's very. I don't want to say one note because it does cover more than just the European longsword, but it does kind of create the same issue that a lot of football players have, and a lot of boxers in the modern day too. Oh, look, I've got all this padding. I'm going to be protected, so I could go hard on the paint even more.
No, padding
Not
only
really.
does so much.
It's hard.
No.
Paint. Stupid.
I mean,
Padding only does so much in
Padding
regards to that.
Padding helps a lot.
Mhm.
If I was
It
wearing
does.
padding every time I do everything, I would fight like he does. But I don't. That's why I fight defensively.
Mm.
Try watching high-level fencing
The-
tournaments is the
Avoid
most
those-
frustrating
you should avoid
fucking
those
thing.
If you
The-
would avoid that to begin with.
Fair. That's a fair point.
If you don't have to take the hit, don't take the hit.
Exactly.
I played Dark Souls. I know how this works.
All right, so Milos, feel
Just
free
roll.
to click on the Watch Together link, and just a refresher for how Watch Together works. You and everyone else in the room can hit play pause, so whenever you feel the need to respond to a point or make a joke about something, just hit play the hit play pause button, and anyone that wants to can drag the bar back and forth. So click that link and join our room.
Okay.
Okay.
I have done the arriving.
You know, there's a sweet tea brewing company where I live called Milo's. So that's all I'm going to be thinking of now.
All right.
But I bet you're sweeter though.
Are we all ready to continue?
I'm set. Everybody else?
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Hamoud?
There should be a real location called the State of Swords.
Hamoud. Hamoud al-Habiba Hamoud. He didn't
He's-
even respond to the meme. Damn.
He's with Fetty planning 912.
I swear, every time I come back, you guys are just dying of laughter. Like, what?
Oh, I was quoting the meme.
That's better. That's better than you coming back and us just dying
Mm.
I was
from
quoting
like a
the meme
suicide
that-
bomb or something.
I
I'm
swear,
sorry, my
if you
default,
keep, oh my god.
default mode is giggle. I don't know what you want from me.
I only have one speed. It's
Yeah, you also only have one fucking joke.
no.
Man, it's been
Hey! I have two. I've made gay
it's been
jokes as well.
24 years almost. Like, find another joke, God.
Okay, it may have been 24. It may have been 24 years, but we still got a couple more stories to go.
All right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
All right, guys, are we set? Are we set to watch this video?
Everyone's here.
We can circle back around to this. We can circle back around to this, but
Yeah, let's.
Yeah. We
I've been
missed, so we
struggling
need to
with whether
circle
or not I
back
should
around.
make this video for a while.
let's
I've gone
get
back and
to it.
forth on the pros and cons, and I've come to the conclusion that it is a valuable piece of information that I can impart to the community.
Who is echoing?
Greek man.
that probably me.
Yes.
My bad.
Go to push to talk. We
Banished
had
to
this
push
issue
to
with
talk. Put headphones
T-Pain.
in.
Been banished.
I know. Like, the first
You
time
have been banished to the Shadow Realm, my dude.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's the first time I actually got my mic to work in God knows how long, so I don't know.
Oh, actually, real quick fix would probably just be plug in a headset.
Anthrax.
Did you just say anthrax?
No, I don't recall saying anthrax.
What the fuck?
There we go.
All right.
All good?
And today we are discussing
Perfect,
the current
that works.
state of sword media online.
Sword Art
If you've
Online
been on
is shit.
YouTube, TikTok, or any other social media platform, you probably understand that the
Sword Art Online is shit.
conversation about swords and swordsmanship is mostly
Yes, it is.
dominated by pop culture, fantasy, anime, video games, and things like that. And that's not necessarily bad, it's what the people want to see.
culture.
But the problem is that's kind of all you can find. Yes, there are some amazing
Anime is shit.
So he says that it's that the pop culture references is really all that you can find. I vehemently disagree because I've been following this guy and some of the channels that he recommends actually for years now, and many of the people that actually do talk about the more fantastical elements, and like how they would work and all that, they sort of ground a lot of it. Like Skalagrim, for example, he'll talk about like fantasy elements and then either talk about why in like his older videos talk about why it doesn't work at all, but in his more recent videos talk about like, oh, I mean, if you play around with like physics and magic, you could get it to work, but here's how it would work in reality. And as such, they still have like a lot of basis in like real historical swordsmanship, even when they're talking about the more fantastical elements like giant swords. And there are also dedicated videos exclusively without any mention of fantasy stuff. So I don't get why he's saying that there's, you only find the fantasy stuff.
What I would have to say is that I think that he's thinking about this in the lens of the early 2000s or early
Yeah, that makes sense.
2010s.
That makes sense.
Since then, since the advent of Shadowversity, since the advent of Skalagrim, since the advent of all these like popular sword
And
YouTubers that
his own
far, yeah, that
Metatron,
far predate him.
Yeah, Metatron as well. Like,
Yeah,
the
people
like.
yeah.
Go on.
Oh, I would say that people have been a lot more like they know now, whereas
Mhm.
before in the early 2000s they didn't really have anything to go on. Now people have a lot more to go on, and so they would know actual technique from learning from these channels. And so it's
Right.
disingenuous that he's saying this argument now when this argument would have been perfect 10 years ago.
When we were just getting over the whole kung fu movie craze and whatnot.
Exactly.
God, yeah. Freaking.
Where
What
everything
was that
about
movie?
Kung fu, karate, katanas, and all that.
Oh yeah. And there
Nunchucks.
and oh god, don't even get me started on nunchucks. Freaking Bruce Lee himself said that they're shit weapons.
Yeah, but nunchucks come from the Filipinos who were forced to have them because the
Mhm.
Spanish were being, fucking Spanish. So
Mhm.
Wait, I thought they were
They
Japanese.
were
no, they're Filipino.
originally the Spanish.
Oh,
Yes.
And then
So
Oh, okay.
with
Fuck,
the
shows what I know.
reasons So
Yeah,
the
first
Spanish,
it was the Spanish,
police.
then it was the Americans, and then it was the Japanese. Sorry, not to
Mhm.
cut you off.
I learned that it was the Filipinos who had it because they would originally like have sticks that they would have for self-defense. And when
Right.
the Spanish caught up with that and were like, "Oh no, you cannot have the stick," what they did, they just cut the stick in half, and so
It
it said,
was
"Oh, it's a smaller
that.
stick." I can't. Oh, fuck the Spanish. They don't
I-
deserve an accent.
I love that authentic Spanish accent. Sorry, just had to.
That's why they
comment
get
on
Italian.
Anyway,
It's beautiful.
Anyway, you were saying.
As someone who lives in California, based opinion.
But you were saying. Sorry.
Who me?
Yeah, you. Sorry.
Yeah. So the Spanish, they said, no, you can't have any sticks that are longer than, I believe, 14 or so inches. So the Filipinos just cut them down, and so it's like it's a resistance weapon, basically.
Just a quick little addendum here. It appears that the nunchaku, or nunchucks, are indeed an Okinawan weapon, which would place them as Japanese in origin. My friend here is probably thinking of kali sticks, or eskrima sticks, which do have a history as being used against the Spanish from what I understand. However, my knowledge on both is still limited. I'm still learning. I just wanted to clear up the space while I can.
It's
And I mean, oh, sorry. Well, it's just like, and I mean, like that kind of makes sense. I mean, like, it's not like it's the only place you have like stick fighting and whatnot. There's like the stick fighting that you do in Africa. So I mean,
yeah. I didn't
it's
mean to,
not like it can't be done.
Mhm.
But that's the reason why nunchucks are really a thing. It's not because, oh, this is the best.
Right.
Right.
He cut out again.
Uh-oh. But you good?
Give it a minute.
Oh.
Yep.
There he is.
You were in the middle of your nunchuck rant.
Oh, how far did I get?
Like, it's not like they were the best weapon or something like that.
Yeah, they weren't the best weapons at all. It's just, that's all you could have. Since you
Right.
weren't allowed to carry your swords. The Filipinos have a brilliant and wonderful history of swords and daggers and knives. But because of the Spanish conquests, those are all suppressed.
It was
So-
a when in doubt weapon.
Yeah.
Like
So a nunchuck is better than nothing. Let's be completely
yeah,
honest.
like mace in
Right.
Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, modern day Europe, I should clarify, because there's two kinds of mace.
The old school mace. Or no, the new school mace.
Yeah, the new school mace, because you're not allowed to
Yeah.
carry anything else.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Welcome to the
Unless
world
you're
of the
English.
stupid. It hasn't changed in several thousand years.
Welcome to Com.
It's speaking of that,
Oh no, please.
quick
please.
tangent, really
No.
quickly. It's like the stupidest thing you could possibly do because people are gonna find a way to kill people regardless. Like,
Oh yeah.
just,
I'm about to.
exactly. Like, just.
I'm not affiliated in any way with this individual.
Now understand
Okay,
something.
take this.
Understand something, Hamoud. If I wanted to hurt anyone here, I would have done so already.
You're saying this to the sword expert? Please continue, please.
And I have a shotgun. Here, I'll prove it.
Oh, bring it over to Cali. Let's see what happens.
Stop being an
Turn
American and
himself.
watch the video.
He's gonna turn. He's
I
gonna turn
haven't
himself
said
into Sid
shit.
the Sloth. Oh no.
I haven't
Oh
paused
god!
this-
Jesus, oh god!
All right.
I haven't paused this fucker once.
Okay. guys.
People doing some historically relevant and, tactically correct sword stuff online, but they're few and far between, and realistically, they're not very popular channels. I think that we're one of the more popular channels that
Yes,
does a lot of
absolutely
fencing
agree.
stuff, and really the reason that we're popular is because we also do some of the silly stuff like memes and things like that. If we just
No.
did historical swordsmanship, we wouldn't be nearly as popular, and that's because people don't seem to find it as enjoyable as they do, anime and stuff like that. And I find that to be a shame.
Okay, just because nobody
Skull and
watches your
Victoria.
videos.
That's
Alright,
not necessarily true.
Gladiatoria, hello.
Exactly.
He's
And
pretty fun.
like what was that?
Oh, Todd's Workshop.
They do real that too. There are also like choreographed stuff. Like this stuff
Oh,
has its place.
Adorea.
What was it? Yeah, that's. I was just about to mention them. Adorea, choreographed stuff, amazing stuff that they do. Like
But that takes time.
Yes.
It does
I
take
adore
time.
Adorea.
His is very quick, because I do similar content. It's quick. With Adorea, they need to do that. Like they need to, take their time and actually work out every little thing that happens. It's a few days of a process. Whereas Sellsword, he makes a video every day, if I believe, or at least
Yeah.
a short every day.
Typically every day. Yeah.
Having
It's
been
all-
on that
it's usually
grind,
one- all
like
one
you're
cut.
not gonna get quality.
hmm Which
Yeah, it's usually all one cut as opposed to Adorea, where you have like different angles and different cuts.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
oh yeah.
So
And even
Yeah.
if we, oh, sorry, I thought you were.
So he, please don't tell me. Can you hear
I
me?
mean, yeah, we can hear you.
yeah, I can hear.
Damn it.
Oh,
Ah,
What? Oh, he couldn't hear us.
ah, okay.
We could hear you. It's just,
Yeah, we can hear you.
I guess you couldn't hear us or something.
Yeah, I could not.
Ah.
That's very silly.
So
But,
I-
I'll shut up. You guys continue.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. As I was saying, even if we accept the silly premise that people prefer anime over real sword battles, one, well, then make more real sword content and show why it's better than anime, and two, is there anything necessarily wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Fantastical elements aside, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And-
Seeing animated stuff, it's really fun. It's really cool. Like even the fantastical elements. Like take this is gonna be a trash example. Take
let's just say Seven Deadly Sins. It's on my mind.
yeah,
And the
Seven
first
Deadly
season's
Sins,
actually
for
good.
instance. Yeah, the first season's actually decent. Take Seven Deadly Sins. None of it will work. It's still cool to see.
Right? It's like there's no
So-
fucking way that a dude is just gonna like throw a spear across a fucking country mile
Exactly.
through
Exactly.
5 buildings.
It's still really cool to see. So you're like, and also but going back to Adorea, their content is still really cool. Yes, it takes time. It's still really cool to see. Like everything is, to an extent, very fast paced, very fluid. It's very fun. We like seeing that.
Mhm.
Not like Hollywood sword fights nowadays, where everything takes. It's so slow. Like, particularly the Star Wars variant. Like, it's too slow. Like, ugh.
Oh, yeah,
No,
especially the
don't.
current stuff that's coming out of Disney.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean,
It's not. Like
well, I think
the Shin Hati fight was the Shin Hati fights and the Balin Skull fights. Those were the best
yeah.
things Star Wars has made in a long while.
Well,
In a very long while.
lightsaber fight wise, I mean, lore-wise,
Lightsaber fight
Andor.
wise. The short. Yeah. But no, I'm like lightsaber fights specifically.
Mm.
Those were the best things Star Wars has made in a long while. And to an extent, they were sort of grounded. Skull in particular was using freaking what was it? HEMA type stuff.
Yeah.
It was very cool. It was very cool.
now
I
that
liked it.
Now that you mentioned that, like, I thought it was kind of interesting how it was like it started off as something that was like straight out of the movies, like just the use of like lightsaber and whatnot, just as a concept,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of morphed into something that was a little bit more developed as time goes on. Like you actually have people actually going out of their way to research how
Mm-hmm.
these could be used in a way that's a little bit more recognizable to us from
There's
history,
another thing
or
as well.
it's just kind of interesting to me that it's just kind of interesting to me just to see how that kind of all developed.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I started my journey on swords because of Star Wars, and now I love
Same.
real swords far more than I love lightsabers. Even before Disney went to
I
shit.
mean, well, Well, I mean, like just
Oh,
like the
God.
concept of just using a lightsaber to begin with. Like we're actually starting to conceptualize it now that we're actually have these resources to actually go off of, you know, and figure
Take the
like
take the
theoretically,
different.
we can use these in these different like methods and techniques because
Absolutely,
Hi, Hamu.
of that. So it kind of enhances it in a way to me.
absolutely, and to that extent, take the different lightsaber forms, for instance.
Right. That's like there's
Those are
Real
so-
quick, guys.
originally-
Hamoud, if you're having
Mhm.
trouble hearing us, well, if he's having trouble hearing us, he's not going to hear what I'm saying. Never mind. Keep going.
Oh, I'm hearing you.
Have you tried
Dumbass.
try restarting Discord? Is it it might just be the app messing with you, because it does do that a lot. But if it isn't, oh wait, no, he
It's
left.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just resetting it.
We're a gaggle of stupid right now.
Are we good?
This
You
works.
good?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that, gentlemen. Please continue.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was doing the same thing just a second ago, so I get it.
You good?
But yeah, what were we speaking about?
Oh, I was just going on about like because we were talking about how the different forms of like how Swords of Sin is portrayed and whatnot as compared to like how we used to view it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just pointing out like how I thought it was kind of interesting that in the last few years, how much like just the use of the lightsaber, as we brought it up, has kind of developed, just at least on a conceptual level. When
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that you mentioned that there's the different forms and whatnot, before that point, like I was just figuring like, oh, it's just Hollywood sword fight with space swords. Okay, it's now gotten to a point where they
Oh.
have different forms, like
Yeah.
official forms, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy to me to think that
It's like, and it's so like, conceptually speaking, the forms are so cool. Like, I love it. Sword nerd here. I don't really get to do HEMA, but I sword nerd. I love it. It's so cool.
But the fact that they're having to do this on a theoretical level, like on a conceptual level, not
Exactly.
like on the basing it more on reality, on these realistic forms. When
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about one of the most iconic sci-fi weapons that, if we ever get to that point, hasn't even been developed yet.
We more than likely
Used,
won't
so-
get to that point, but it's a really cool idea.
But I mean, like, to where, on a theoretical level, this is how this could be used,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's kind of crazy to me that something like that has developed on a level where it could be used on a technical level,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, I'm sorry, it's just funny that it's just like, I always thought that was kind of like cool and interesting how that just sort of developed something
Speaking
that's
of,
unreal becoming a little bit more realistic.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, the episode in Ahsoka where I forget her name. She was doing like different stances and cuts and whatnot. I think Trisket can help me out here. I forget the chick's name. She was the apprentice to Ahsoka. She was doing like different stances and cuts in one scene. I forget.
do not remember.
You know what I'm
that.
talking about.
Sabine?
Sabine, yeah. That was
I
her
do
name.
not remember that because the only redeeming quality to those fights was some very basic maneuvers on old guy's behalf, and Hayden Christensen absolutely showing up Rosario Dawson because they didn't bother
Oh,
to train
God.
her.
Oh God.
He showed her up so
I-
much that he was able
I-
to just fucking spin around, and it looked like a legitimate like flourish or taunt because she
Yeah.
was so poor in
Yeah.
form.
Like they need to hire actual train people to train these actors. Like this is
Just get the guy
ridiculous.
from the prequels, man.
yeah.
Yeah. Cause I'll be honest, Hayden was the highlight of that shit. Like that was That was the best.
Him
Him
existing
just
is the
showing
highlight of
up,
that
him
show.
existing is the highlight of that show. Like, good lord,
He
man.
doesn't even do anything. He just exists.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Well, I would say that that's
like-
the problem with modern day Disney, that they have to go back on these what's the word? It's like remembrance.
Member berries,
like-
nostalgia bait.
like legacy.
Nostalgia,
Yeah,
yeah.
nostalgia bait. They have to do that because the quality of their shows has decreased so much
Like,
that they
That's
and-
all
they
they
rely
And
on
even
this.
even
It's horrible.
and even with the nostalgia bait, right? There are certain ways to get that to work within the confines of the story. It's just that they're doing it so poorly. I don't know how we got to this part of the conversation, but we're here. Like they're doing it so bad that it's just nostalgia bait, and it's very poor
Really.
on Disney's part, because they used to be good. They used to be good. Now they're just not.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the writers' strike because
No,
with
this
the
started long
writers
before
no
that.
longer-
Yeah, it
It
did.
did, but like the continuation of the writers' strike is definitely hurting them as well because the only people that could help them fix it are on fucking strike. So
Well,
Yeah,
were.
because they're not-
They
it's-
recently signed some deals, I think, and it basically allowed Hollywood to do everything that it was going to do to begin with. They made zero progress.
Mhm.
Good job, guys.
but remember,
I will
union is your
be-
enemy.
I will be right back. My food is here.
Very cool, very cool.
All right. While he is eating, shall we continue?
game, but that's just the way things are. But today I want to talk to you guys about what makes good sword content and who you should and shouldn't listen.
But make good sword rat.
Oh, look at me. I'm the arbiter of good sword content. Sorry, that's what screamed in.
No, it really does.
Oh, look at me. I know what make good
Let
sword.
me just toot my own horn here.
Look at me. I'm perfectly. Look, the tang is nearly full width of the blade.
Nice Pirates reference.
Thank you.
Sorry, sorry that you stopped it at the perfect moment. It's like that's literally what just went through my head. after
Yeah,
you
that's
said
what he's doing. Look at him. He's examining it with his expertise.
Yeah, and let's now. I mean, mockery aside, let's be fair. Is there bad sword content on YouTube? I haven't seen it, but I would guess that there is.
There,
I have.
I'm sure there is. I just have like a tendency just to avoid it. Like I just like shut off the video. Okay, moving on. The moment I even get that sense, I just like. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. I just have a tendency just to avoid them and just walk away the moment I even get that sense.
Well, this is gonna be the first.
Oh.
Of bad sword content on YouTube.
Like, I don't know. Just the moment I just get the sense that it's just dumb, I walk away. Like this. That's why I haven't really even engaged in this whole thing, this whole heat between them, because it's just stupid to begin with. That's the whole reason.
Well, then you're a smarter than man. You are a smarter man than me.
Wow.
And this is coming from a very self-professed dumbass. So,
Then you are a smarter man than me, a guy making a whole ass podcast episode about it.
I'm a dumbass. He's a dumbass. She's a dumbass. They're a dumbass. Wouldn't you like to be a dumbass too?
but anyway, we can probably keep going.
Listen to
Sorry,
and why.
just had to. Sorry, just had to say that.
Guys, did you know that fantasy isn't reality?
Oh my god!
Holy
really? When are they
fucking
gonna tell me?
shit!
Remarkable. My god.
Always has been. Shoots the guy in the back of the fucking head.
With a
Yeah,
cross.
I
return.
don't think I need to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Anime, video games, pop culture, and all those things are not accurately representing swordsmanship.
No shit.
What?
It's cool, it's
Oh
fun.
my, it's
Um,
almost like
well, actually-
it's almost like a whole crowd of people have been beating it into everybody's heads for the last
Doesn't-
what, decade or so?
Doesn't Vinland Saga have like a bunch of accurate, or maybe not Vinland Saga, but there was some.
The part where he jumps 50 feet in the boat and then comes back down on the guy is
That shit's
totally
110%
accurate.
accurate. Have you seen?
Oh, yeah,
have you seen
absolutely.
Norwegian dudes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair.
They're freaking huge, dude.
No, I was gonna say like I forget what anime it was, but there was an anime
I think you're
that
talking
I remember.
about the Virgin. I think you're talking about the Virgin Witch.
Yes, that's what it was, with like super accurate medieval gear.
She's not a bird.
What now?
It was a little. It was like a short anime based in the 100 Years' War, where it's this one witch who who went out of her way to stop the fighting between the French and the English. But it's just some of the techniques that they had in the show has been regarded as like pretty fairly accurate for how it could have been used.
Yeah, and they have like really
like,
period accurate
butler.
equipment too. It's great.
I'll have to check that out. I'll have to check that out.
Vinland Saga was not what I was thinking of. It was what you just said. Thank you, Vic.
Vinland Saga is still my favorite anime.
It's a great anime.
It's a terrific anime.
Oh,
It's
whoa.
been on my
I don't
list
watch
for a
anime.
long.
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's-
so if I like it and I don't watch anime, that means like it's really good. That's
It's good
what I'm trying to
shit.
say.
I don't
good
watch
shit,
kids
good
shows.
Berserk is also Berserk is fantasy. There's people crunching through armor like it's no problem, but they actually address the idea of people not being strong enough, like with Isidro and Casca, so they aim for the joints in the armor, and especially in like the second half of the bits that Miura worked on, the armor got really authentic.
I'm not gonna touch Berserk with a 10-foot pole because I don't like the content in it. So,
Oh, we need to get Drew in here now.
No, he's gonna throw a fit.
He's not in the server, dumbass.
No, I know, but still.
Jesus. Anyway,
He's throwing a fit right now watching the video.
Probably.
I'm just kidding. He doesn't watch these.
Oh,
streaming right now.
no.
Is Drew in the room with us right now?
No. I record these specifically because of East.
Oh, I see.
I don't understand why. It's not like I've ever niggered my way through an episode before or anything like that.
You wait a minute. What did you just say? I didn't catch that.
Damn it, man! Damn
You
you!
know- I was under the impression you might have just misspoke.
Right.
No.
Right. No,
Back to high school.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I misspoke.
Yeah, you did fucking misspeak.
I need to be more clear when I pronounce things. Sorry. It's not like I've ever niggered my way through an episode before.
God, he just does it.
Christ, man.
He just keeps going.
This, like, if it's not obvious to anyone, this man says the most offensive thing he can think of because he
It
thinks
doesn't
it's
help that
funny.
he comes from the fucking bread basket.
Oh God.
For the 1000th time, I'm Ethiopian.
No, you're Ethiopian.
My Buddha, shouldn't you act Ethiopian then? What are you doing?
What are
Well-
you doing here?
There's the
What
accent.
do you think you are doing? What
I'm
is this?
evolved.
What do you think are?
Oh, you have de-evolved. No, you have not.
You-
You have become
you-
white. You have
Why
devolved.
are you running?
Devolved! You have become white, you have devolved.
My life story is 2001: A Space Odyssey in reverse.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
2001? You sound like the GLaDOS.
Oh my God.
Oh, god damn it.
This
and
is
it's
just
enjoyable to
continue
watch,
with
but
your,
that's not the way that swordsmen
right.
act.
this is just delightful.
But because most popular content creators who do things about swords are courting that audience, they tend to couch things in terms of those anime techniques or things like that. How many videos have you seen kind of
Anime techniques. Can you please name the anime techniques that people think are real?
So
That
there's
are not
animators
Sword
on
wave
the-
attacks.
The
Sword
yellow
wave
lightning
attacks.
that Zenitsu uses. That.
Yeah.
Reverse grip.
Oh, yeah, Kage
What?
Bunshi no
Okay.
Jutsu, that's a real one. Fucking, that's the Shadow Clone Jutsu.
So
The Naruto run.
I can name the anime techniques. There's on the twos, there's claymation,
No, that's
there's whiteboard
animation.
animation, there's CSS, there's cutout, there's cell shading,
Am I being
stop
ignored
motion.
on
Yes.
my own channel?
Yes.
Damn.
It's our channel.
Sucks to suck, doesn't it?
The fuck out of my server, Stalin.
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun, dun.
That confused me because I heard the leave and the Soviet music was still playing. I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
It is eternal.
I feel like there's some historical context is here with the late Soviet shenanigans in the Middle East and whatnot.
Oh.
I feel there is some historical context is there.
they make good targets for Stinger missiles. Yes.
There it is.
Yep. Yep.
Good
Absolutely.
targets for a 747 though.
Man went from Middle East to Middle Beast.
Right.
I heard
Breaking
Soviet
down
invaded
video
Pakistan
game sword.
and Afghanistan.
Sorry,
Oh
you
no,
were
please
saying?
continue.
Oh.
No, continue,
Oh.
continue.
Oh, okay.
All I heard was Afghanistan, and I got scared.
You guys were talking about like the Soviets, and then you mentioned Afghanistan, so I had to speak. you
No,
know.
Ah.
it was just East was doing the Soviet national anthem, and you just kind of they left the server and whatnot. It was just like, I feel like there's like some historical context here, considering their shenanigans in the Middle East and whatnot.
He had to plan the next strike.
Sorry, it's just that was the joke there.
Middle Beast to Middle East.
Fighting and things like that. It's interesting, it's fun to watch, but the conversation is dominated by that to the point where it's really hard to find realistic swordsmanship unless you know where to look.
YouTube. It's very easy to find, especially in the 20s.
It's not here.
It is the
It's not on- I know where to look, and I can tell you the exact people to go to because I've been told those exact people.
Yes,
A
even
lot
if
of them
you,
are Poland. A lot of them are not here. They're not in the continental United States. They're in like fucking everywhere. Even Matt Easton isn't. Even Matt Easton uses the sources that I use. So like,
yeah, and if we're just talking about like only in finding realistic sources or realistic swordplay, there's a ton of that on YouTube, man. Like a fuck
it is the
ton.
age of the
Yes,
the
it's
Google
in the movie
as well.
Protop.
internet. It's not a matter of whether or not you can get to that information. It's a matter of how you're able to read that information.
Yes, that is more
Google as
important.
well.
And
Google
discern
as well.
which one
You
to
can
use,
literally
which
look
one's
up-
important
you
and which one isn't. That's
Mhm.
that's really the catch there.
Google as well. You can literally Google what they're talking about within the videos and find accurate sources.
you'd be surprised. Google is not very helpful, and I'm saying this as someone who has tried exactly what you're telling. I just couldn't find what I've been looking for. I had
Really?
to, ask people. Yeah, because Google is so limited sometimes because they don't have everything. You'd be surprised. They don't have everything.
Yeah,
That's-
And everything's so buried.
That is
there.
surprising, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is
manuscripts.
fact. It makes
like,
it even tougher to find things. Sorry.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you guys the specific manuscript that I found. It's called Tufat al-Ghuzzat. You guys aren't going to be able to pronounce that, so don't worry. It's a
it.
Ottoman military manuscript, and the only way I could find it was going through Wiktenauer, which is a wiki about swordsmanship, and I could only find that by talking to people.
you're
So,
gonna have to send that to me, man.
Yeah, Wiktenauer. Let me actually look that up.
Yeah,
Well,
because I could probably use that not just for learning more about swords, but also for like writing fantasy stories.
It's like Lichtenauer, but Wiktenauer. Like it's like
Hmm.
I put it in there. I didn't
Yeah.
put the actual thing, but it's super like that.
Yeah.
Wherever,
Yeah.
whenever I need
Google's
information,
not as
actually,
helpful as you think.
around these parts, when you need like any kind of specific information, there is a very specific, very strange, bizarre, magical place you can go. It's the old man sitting outside of Walmart in Lafayette.
Oh no.
There's also local
That
libraries.
guy knows everything.
Local libraries
usually
are
they-
not likely to have. They're not very likely to have like these old ass sources, but people can still make books based on these old sources and put them on Amazon or in local libraries or whatever. I actually have a book about Spanish musketry from the late Renaissance, and there's another book about, I think it was German fashion from just a little bit before that. Yeah, the mid 1500s that I've been keeping my eye on, and
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to, look through both of them extensively and learn everything I can. And they're hard to find, but when you know how to look, then well, you know how to look. And I think really finding the actual historical sources is harder than finding real sword techniques, because you can just do that with a quick Google search on YouTube.
You can, but the thing with a lot of these techniques is that they're used in modern senses. Like
That's
I've
true.
used so many techniques that I learned that I would go back and teach and talk to people that know better than me, and they're looking at me like, "Oh, are you joking? Dude, you're doing like 18th century Russian, or you're doing 18th century English." And I'm like, "No, I'm trying to do Turkish. I'm trying to do Ottoman Turkish," and it's colored by by later pieces.
That's
so
true.
A lot
It
of
is-
modern day fencing.
that is very true.
A lot of modern day fencing is from the 1800s or the 1700s. You
Right.
will
Even
hardly
the-
find anything that's 1600s that's not Spanish or that's not German. Everything
Even
else.
the language used in these texts are colored by various other things, like
Oh, absolutely.
what you just said, the Ottoman Turkish, right?
Mhm.
I looked up a lot of what is it? AC Revelations.
Yeah.
I looked up a lot of their stuff. The language they used, I was so surprised by how do I word this? Not necessarily accurate, but very close it was to those times. Like it was like they do their research. It was really good. It was really
They
good.
don't
I
anymore.
did
No,
their
old
research.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, old Ubisoft was. Whew,
Yeah, and now we can't even have their games because they belong to them. Those bastards.
oh God, they're trying so hard to get that to go through.
If I
Like,
can't own it, then I can't pirate it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Time to sail the high seas, gentlemen.
Like
Yar,
dude, if I
50
paid if I paid 60 or so, close to $100 on a single game, I own that game. I don't care.
Yes.
Like, no, you are not going to get this to go through.
These motherfuckers
The
made
way
us
we
play
started around
3
feeling
fucking
like a
pirate
pirate
games
trying
and
to
they
be-
expected
I
us
don't
to
know.
not be ready for this shit.
The worst part is they do this when they have such great games like Baldur's Gate 3 that came out.
Exactly.
at the same time.
Exactly. Even like they're older games. Let me bring up Splinter Cell really quickly because they're older games, right? So good, very good. Now they're subpar. Their UI is just not. It's ew. The mechanics, ew. It's not like it's the same. Look at Far Cry and tell me that it's not Call of Duty, but solely single player. It's just not. It's not good anymore. They haven't done good stuff in years. The only I forget was Hitman. No, that wasn't it. No, hang on. But yeah, no, they haven't been good in years. They just haven't. So, Larian, good on you for showing them up.
They showed up everyone, man.
Yeah.
They did. My God,
They remember
good
games were
lord.
fun to begin with, not corporatized.
I've been avoiding spoilers like crazy
You haven't played the
for
game?
Baldur's Gate. I haven't played it. I haven't been able to afford it, unfortunately. So,
see. It's a good
yeah,
game.
Yo,
I am-
dude, if you have a cash,
I am-
if you have a Cash App, a Venmo, or a PayPal, I can change that very quickly for you.
dude, I
Got a sugar daddy.
I have a PayPal. I have a PayPal. I'm that old.
Okay.
I have a PayPal.
Okay, well, just let me know what it is, and I can send you the money for it, and we can get this started. Okay?
I don't
Just let
even,
me
dude.
know.
I'd need
I
a.
can change
I
this
would
for
need
you.
a PS5, my dude, and I don't have that either.
You could use the. Do you have a nice computer?
No, this thing is dated. It's like. It's dated. I got this thing in 2014. It's dated.
Oh wow.
And it's still
Yeah.
Forget I
alive?
said anything. Forget I said
Yeah, it's still alive.
Christ.
It's still alive.
That thing's chugging. It is 10 years old.
It is.
It's a trooper.
It is
It's a real
chugging.
trooper.
It is chugging. It can barely run Skyrim modded right
It will
now.
live. It will outlive us all.
Ah.
The,
It will outlive
the
us
fucking Doom Slayer of laptops.
It really.
He just doesn't stop.
It does
With
not.
all
Games
It just
fear
keeps
him
going.
because he does not
Shit.
stop.
It will.
It keeps going. My freaking when did Final Fantasy 14 come out? Because my PS4 is old as well.
That was 2013, wasn't it?
I believe so.
No, not was it 14? No, 15. Excuse me.
Oh,
That was 2016.
I have a 2016. I have a limited edition Final Fantasy PS4. This thing is dated as well.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I
This
mean,
is the
consoles
hardest
are meant to
game
last longer
I've
than.
gotta say.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like even still, this thing is like it's still my case still stands.
Yeah.
It's dated.
All right.
This is the hardest tangent. Just had to say.
Sword.
The other issue is that there are very few people who are popular swordsmanship creators who do a lot of fencing. And it's integral to fence to understand how these things work.
I don't know about that.
Well,
Grant.
okay. Let's
Well done.
get the
Yeah.
clarification out of the way. He meant fencing as an umbrella term. You should be practicing with real swords or synthetics, whatever. Like metal swords is what you should be practicing with so that you can fully understand the techniques. And if we're speaking on like an ideal basis for how the sword itself works, yeah, sure, absolutely. But
I mean, yeah,
as
but
a
you can still
statement-
practice with a stick.
Yes, as a statement in and of itself, no. There are plenty of ways to learn about swordplay, even if you do not directly engage with it. And also, bro, who the fuck are you even talking about? Every single major and popular sword content creator does this umbrella term fencing. They just don't always do it on screen.
See,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I gotta be. I'm sorry, I have to be that guy who has to point out, like, you gotta be very particular about how you term this, because like sword play usually falls under the stuff that we talk about when it comes to like theater, movies, and whatnot. Just sword being looking cool. Fencing is a sport, which makes it very different from how it's used in a realistic application.
Well,
because
fencing is
mainly
not
because of the say again.
Fencing is not realistic.
Right, exactly. Like and it's mostly, and you don't want to take it from like just a fencing mindset, because just mainly because of the mindset. Because like in fencing, that's the same thing. It kind of shares the same basis with sword play, where both of them you're not really meant to hurt the other guy. You're just meant to hit them. When in a more martial standpoint, yeah, you're intending to hurt the other guy.
I would say in that case, so you have to, the degree in which you fence plays a part, because fencing is a broad term just meaning sword fighting.
Mhm.
There is Olympic fencing, which is a sport. There is EMA, which is a sport, or it's a martial art combined with a sport, but more sporty because there are rules. And then there's shit that
There
I
is
do,
the
which is like,
Yeah.
you take a sword, or like we use synthetics, and We fight with the intention to like hit the other person. Of course, we have helmets, so we don't like
Right.
hurt our eyes or anything.
Isn't
But
there
basically, besides that,
isn't
we're
there
unarmed.
also the the armored version of Hema?
That is Harnessfechten, and I would say that the like modern day Hema, like with full armor,
Mhm.
reflects that.
Mhm.
That is good Harnessfechten. What Sellsword does
Mm.
is good Harnessfechten. What Sellsword does not do is good. I think it's called Flausflechten, which is like just unarmed combat. He doesn't do that
Mm.
well because he gets hit all the time. Have you seen him fight? He
Mhm.
rushes in.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
fighting like a janissary.
very-
He does.
He's fighting to just beat the shit out of the enemy. He's
Yeah,
not fighting
he's,
to,
he's
like
hyper aggressive.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the way
But-
that you have, okay, the way that I fight, I'm sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but I feel like it relates.
okay.
to
Oh
this.
no, it's good.
No, you're good.
relevant.
It's yeah.
It's also insightful, actually.
Yeah, the way that I
Mhm.
fight, Trisket knows about this because we have actually had confrontations. I fight with sword and shield. I'm aggressive because I can afford to be aggressive. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that Sellsword fights, he cannot afford to be aggressive because he's using a longsword. A longsword is not a shield.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not.
Exactly.
It's not. Like you can be defensive with a long sword, but it's not. It doesn't take up it's not going to take up the space that a shield would. You were still very open. You were
Right.
still very open.
Right.
And yeah, you have to understand that. So every time I fight with longsword, Trisket knows I fucking suck at longsword. But he knows that I try to fight powerfully
Hey,
but
at least-
defensive.
Sorry,
Right.
at least you don't suck as much as that other guy. What was his name? He just fucking hit himself twice.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, you made me break composure. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm
Look out.
back, I'm back.
Just hold your sword out and tell it to look out.
hmm
I'm trying so hard to be composed. But yeah,
I have no words
that's
for that.
that's my little statement about like properly. I can't say properly fighting, but if you want to fight, you have to do it at least with the understanding that you yourself do not want to be hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again,
I
if you can
would-
avoid getting hit, don't take the hit.
The only I wish I could contribute more to this because the only thing I know is what I've observed, and I can't. I wish I could contribute more to the conversation.
Oh, but observing is also very insightful. It's just that when you're on the inside, there's a lot of mechanics that you don't know, like very slight things. Like I feint a lot. I feint a lot. When people are looking from the outside, they don't see those feints because it happens so quick that they don't like register that a feint happened.
Mhm.
This is
Which-
only something that someone on the inside could really like know about.
Right. And
The best insight I can give is, you're gonna hate me for this, is in regards to a game that me and how do I say your Discord name, Vic?
we
how do I say that?
Milos.
I call them Milos.
Milos.
Yeah.
Milos. The Milos have played is For Honor, and in that game you can feint a lot. Milos knows I feint a lot in that game because I play either aggressively or
Us.
I play defensively, and he knows I play Warden a lot in that game. Warden is a very feint heavy. Warden is a very feint heavy Vanguard character, and the best way I can put him is that he is. You have to be very steady when you're doing this shit, because otherwise you leave yourself open to attacks, and you end up with tunnel vision, and tunnel vision ends up killing you more often than not in a game like this.
And I can speak from
You
experience.
have to be steady.
Yes, I can speak from experience with actual sword fighting and sword play. That happens. That is real. I have a hard time fainting. because I have a hard
Mhm.
time with like micromanaging the movements because I'm a very, outward and exaggerated person. So when I try and go for a feint, it becomes painfully obvious,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well,
because of that, I lose a bit of steadiness, and people with any experience in how to fight me just see right through it, and I'm done
Mhm.
for.
yeah,
Well,
people with any experience on how to fight you.
right. Like, but the thing with like, with just that, as it is, like, with those who aren't really practiced or anything like that, like it's very subtle. It's
Mhm.
very subtle. You'd have to like pay close attention in order to really pick up on it, and that's something that mostly those who actually have practiced, at least at some degree, can notice and pick up on. Like what I do, like at least with the feints that I tend to do, just again Olympic style fencing and whatnot, it's very
Mhm.
small. It's very small motions, especially with basing it off of a tip-based weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
Mhm.
slight. It's very slight motions, but if you feint and make it believe, like at least with our interpretation, we feint just to get a response, a very specific response.
Oh,
The
yeah,
more
yeah.
believable it is,
Mhm.
the more that response comes out. It's just prodding for a very specific response. Basically, if I do
Mhm.
this, what will you do? That's basically what's going on there. Do that
Yeah.
maybe do that one more time just to confirm that's the same reaction, and then respond to that.
May I ask,
But-
what weapon do you use when you fence?
Oh, epee.
Epee? I see.
Mhm.
I'm more of a saber person, so there's a different style there.
Right. And that's something I've noticed, like, kind of dabble. I mean, my specialty is epee, but I have dabbled with saber and foil.
Yeah.
I would love
But-
to do longsword. I would love to do that. It looks so fun. It looks so fun. Oh my god.
He's a killer with the longsword.
And it's like it's
I-
very
If we ever
different-
meet in person,
different-
Trisket, I would love to learn.
I'm no master. I wouldn't regard myself as a teacher, but I would be more than happy to help you out.
I would love to learn because this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Like with, uh, weirdly enough, locks for my hair and whatnot. Like this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Combine them. Have locks while you fight.
Oh god.
Dude, you could be a better anime Yasuke than the actual anime Yasuke.
That would be sick. That would be sick.
Yeah, now who's gonna teach him kendo?
Frickin-
Now? It's gonna be like Yasuke.
It would have to be more kenjutsu than kendo because kendo is the sport and it's not made for like killing people. So, which to be fair, I don't want to kill people, but at the same time, you know what I mean.
I do.
There's only so many ways you can use a sword.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why a lot of, like, katana and longsword techniques, a lot of people have pointed this out, but it's still worth mentioning. A lot of the techniques overlap. There are minor differences because of the shape of the blade and, guard and all that stuff, but you can really only move the human body in so many ways.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. You can move a sword
Speaking
in so
of-
many ways.
Speaking of Yasuke, am I the only one who thinks that the flashbacks were better than the actual anime itself within the anime?
No, that's just the objectively correct opinion.
Because, like, it would have been awesome to just see his journey through Japan, but
Yeah.
then they had to go and add Mecha to this shit. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Or no, it wasn't Mecha. It was who's the fucking? Oh God, what kingdom was Mansa Musa from?
Mali.
Mali, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mecca is the hometown of Muhammad.
Yeah, you could tell it because it has a distinctive black stone that a lot of people make fun of.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't.
Why do they?
I
why do
can't
they
even
make
think
fun
of
of it?
a way to make fun of it. It's just, I guess, black Rubik's cube. Oh, okay. That's the only way that I can think of making fun of it.
It's like middle school.
Yeah, Makkah has the Masjid al-Haram, which is the I guess people would say the Black Stone.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's Mecca. If it was, I didn't watch the show, but if you're referring to somewhere that had like I guess more Adobe style buildings, then that would be Timbuktu.
No. We're talking about this anime on Netflix about Yasuke, but like his journey from slave to samurai is told in flashbacks, and the bulk of the anime is this generic fucking trash. Like,
Is that the one where they have like the Russian people that are over in like Tokugawa Ieyasu period Japan?
if by Russian people you mean one Russian woman who can turn into a bear, yes.
Yeah, I think I saw a little bit of that. Wasn't a fan.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
No,
Which is a shame.
I
Because,
wasn't either.
because like
The
Yasuke's story
flashbacks
is
were fantastic.
yeah. Yasuke's
Like,
story
his story
is
is awesome.
wonderful, man. I mean, it's a little tragic at the end,
Absolutely.
but still.
Well, yeah, but like he does inevitably, unfortunately, go back to slavery. But like at the same time, his journey was worth telling, and they just did not do that. They didn't do it.
Yeah, even
For
the
whatever
more
reason.
grounded and least inspiring version of his story is still inspiring. He was given titles, and which implies a level of land ownership by Nobunaga himself, even if he was only
Exactly.
a fucking retainer. Even if his job was literally
even-
just carrying water,
like-
he was still given land. That's so much more
His-
than
his,
any slave in Europe was ever given.
You know what his title was? He was called the Onyx Swordsman. Swordsman. Excuse me. And it was like he was so cool, dude. Like, fuck. They had to go and ruin that.
Yeah. Speaking of ruining swords.
Popular sword media on YouTube and other sites like it lack a true representation of the art of swordsmanship. Most of it's focused on looking cool, doing cool choreography, and there's nothing really wrong with that, like I said before, and I'm going to say that.
So
swordplay.
cool choreography and accurate interpretations of swordsmanship are mutually exclusive, is what that implies.
Right.
Like,
I wouldn't say.
I need everybody to go
I
look up
wouldn't.
Potop sword fight right now.
I'm sorry.
What?
Do it.
Type it into the chat because nobody heard what you said. Now,
Yeah.
if we want to be good faith, which I think we should afford to be, he would not agree with that statement if I was to say that. But I would like to know who exactly he's even talking about with, like, oh, well, people care more about the good-looking choreography than the actual, like, techniques. And it's like, well, what sword YouTubers are you watching
Those
that
are two different
care-
audiences. Those are two different
Right.
audiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People typically, like, especially if you're on like TikTok or whatever, people tend to like choreography a lot more than let's say you're on YouTube learning techniques. Those are two completely different audiences that you're appealing to.
Right.
So if you're talking about like, oh, you're swinging a sword around, it looks nice, you're going to catch a certain type of audience. People are like, oh wow, the sword looks super cool. Whereas if you're doing actual technique, you're going to get a lot more, like refined. I wouldn't say refined in like the prejudice kind of way, but refined as in people that actually want to learn swordsmanship and are critiquing you because they want to improve their own craft. Those are two completely different audiences.
Yeah, and there's some overlap. I would say that I'm in that overlap audience, but they're still different audiences. It's a different. I don't want to sound like a dickhole, but it's a different level of like cerebral engagement. One is very surface
Oh, I know
level
what
that
you're
looks
talking
cool,
about.
and the other is like the breaking down of the mechanics.
Right.
Yes,
And
Potop
that's
Deluge.
why.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, the
Yeah,
deluge
that's
is
a
Potop's
That's a
English.
great one. I learned a lot of my saber from that.
Nice.
And that's why, I make that, at least for me, I make that distinction. Like, if you're just doing it just to, have something look cool and have it, enhance a moment or whatnot, that's just sword play. You're playing around with it and seeing what what you can do with the sword, just as a fun idea. But if you're really looking at it and really trying to perfect your craft, your use of it in a means to be able to defend yourself, that's a whole other concept entirely.
But sometimes they can overlap. I will give you a
They
specific
can.
example.
But
and
like,
that
if
is-
you're
Mhm.
you're going to set up those crowds because of that intent.
But I would say that there's a different kind of overlap where, in the use of these like artisanal techniques, like just sort of swinging the sword around, sometimes that's an accurate representation of how a group of people would have fought with swords, such as the Cossacks. If you look at Cossack sword fights, they're fucking crazy. It's like they don't think. But, and I'm being serious, look up Cossack sword fighting. It is the goofiest yet coolest shit you will ever see. What,
It is
really
what
pretty.
they do.
That actually
is
does raise an
basically they
interesting point because most people were not trained on manuals. Well, assuming
yeah.
they even had a sword to begin with, most people, even with swords, were not trained on manuals. They were trained through experience or through a teacher, meaning that a lot of guys with swords on, like, you know, in be it duels or medieval battlefields, they're not going to be using all these, like, you know, intricate techniques. They're really just going to be kind of smashing at each other. And like if you watch like the videos of like people in like the Philippines or England fighting each other with machetes, that's probably a more historically accurate depiction of how most people fought with swords than anything
Most
that
people
Fiore.
would, like, in regards to like the peasantry, yes.
Yeah, well, yes. Like in terms of like training, obviously you should refer to like the German and Italian, you know, longsword duel stuff.
But then that goes to the fact that you can only swing a sword like as many times. Like you can only there's only so many ways the human body moves, and especially if we as human beings are naturally indisposed. If something's coming at us, to hit it. That's where you get slashing. We are naturally indisposed to slashing, so that's where you get a lot of machete like fights. It's just instinctively slashing.
Mhm.
Or
Whereas,
just swinging at something at another thing, or just swinging something at something.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit gets nasty, but not even necessarily lethal. Like there was this one fight between these two British kids that I saw. They were having a spat and they pulled machetes out of their backpacks and they hit each other several times and they were bleeding like crazy, but nobody needed to be hospitalized by the looks of it.
Mm.
So like that just goes to show you how like brutal ancient warfare really could have been. Just imagine
It-
that, but like
like-
lines of thousands. I mean, most of them would have been using spears instead of swords, but still.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Damn, I'm just imagining it, and it's certainly not the pretty flashy shit that you see in HEMA videos.
No.
No.
And I say this as someone that really, really likes HEMA, even outright loves it. Shall we continue?
I'm good.
That over and over again in the video, but it is what dominates the conversation, and we really lose the reality of how these things would have worked. And I find that, honestly, the stuff that
Well, if you, like I said, if you want the reality, just go to fucking Live Leak and watch machete fights. Like, but I don't think anyone wants to do that.
we make just to be cool isn't nearly as interesting as the stuff that is realistic, because the realistic stuff is really cool. One of the biggest problems with this is, well, it's difficult. Fencing is hard. It is a skill. It is a martial art. It is a art that we pursue through our entire lives. It's not something that you just get. And so to actually be good at fencing, you have to dedicate a lot of time to it.
That's actually a really good point, and I think that actually sort of kind of goes in line with everything that we've said. Like, all of us have our individual experiences, and as such, you can't cover everything.
Right.
Right. Well, I mean,
That's
as
why we have
craft
like
as it is,
specialties.
Exactly.
right?
And that's
Right.
why I think it's silly to gatekeep like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, well, sure, you're an expert in this field, and you would probably absolutely destroy me in any given duel, but well, what about these guys? Or these guys, who have decades more experience than either of us, and even though they're not using any proper technique, they've been practicing for years, and they could probably destroy either of us.
Oh yeah.
Not only having that experience, having their own usage of that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
That's something that we see in just I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same case with any other weapon, but at least with my experience with fencing, you see that shit all the time when somebody really starts to bloom and whatnot, where they
Mhm.
have their own unique use, their own unique approach.
Oh,
Some are a
absolutely.
little bit more defensive than others. Some are a bit more aggressive than others.
Mhm.
Some are more methodical. Some are just chaotic goblins who just go off of pure instinct and somehow manage to make that work.
Like the
In
Cossacks.
fact, those are the most dangerous. Those are the most dangerous because it's so fucking crazy.
Mhm.
But I mean, even then, they still go in and they practice like when they the moment they find out that what that works for them works, they go in if they're serious about it anyway. They go in and refine it.
Mhm.
They go in practice these same techniques in their own manner and in the way that they were originally taught. Like I know, like when I showed up to like the club that we went to, for the first time, no one's ever thought about using a parry offensively, when that used to
Really?
be my thing. Yeah,
You epee people, ooh.
I
say that as a joke. I
there
say
is
that
such
as a
thing
joke.
as offensive parry, at least with epee. But
Yeah.
again, I'm sure it's very different with any other weapon. But I mean, even so, like that having that is it just kind of opens up doors for everybody at that
Oh,
point.
Also, I like how
Yeah.
he's gatekeeping like fantasy and anime and all that, but look at how he's dressed.
Oh, yeah.
Are we really that gonna gatekeep that hard? Are we?
I would call that very like Cossack because the Cossacks wore whatever was fucking cool. So that's Cossack. That's literally.
That's true, but that is not very typical Slavic or even Cossack fashion.
No, like
But-
they wore whatever was cool. He is doing the exact same thing. He is at heart a Cossack.
Also looks
Well,
gay as
in
hell.
heart, yes, but like we're talking about like, like reliving real history or whatever, and it's just that's very clearly a fantasy outfit, and he's bitching about fantasy and sword media on YouTube, and I just noticed the the hypocrisy in that. It's kind of funny.
But I would say the core of what he's saying does have merit.
Yes, it has
No
merit.
matter what
It's not
you-
without.
No matter what it's wearing.
Yeah, it's not without value. What he's saying does have some value. Like we've agreed with plenty of things that he's said, even if we don't agree with like the extent of which he means it. But there are also some silly things that he said here and there.
As of right now, I would have to agree with him on a lot of, like, I would say most stuff. I mean, we're taking the shit out of him for comedy reasons, but I would have to agree with him for the most part as
Yeah.
of right now.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are some things that he says that we can't agree on.
Yeah,
There are some things.
exactly like we just talked about with the technique and learning and all that. But that's exactly why I think that being so gatekeepy about it is so, especially with YouTube content. It's just so silly. Like
Stupid. It's
Yeah.
very stupid. Yeah.
it's like had he spent more time in refining his thought process and his arguments, or even realizing that the bulk of his argument about the focus on fantasy is 10 years old, then or had he focused less on had he specified it's hard to find real sources on Google rather than on just in general, then yeah, I don't think we would have any real disagreements. It's just
So you have an issue with his tone, basically, as do I.
That's how he says it. Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
even just the tone; it's more or less the delivery. And like I said, there's also that 10-year-old argument that he made. It's like, yeah, that argument would only hold water if you had made this video 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
You
But-
know,
I
like
would
I mentioned
say that-
earlier. Oh, look at me! I'm the spokesperson of swordsmanship, like you mentioned earlier.
yeah, it does kind of come across that way a little bit. Even if that's not what he means to do, it does come across that way, and that's why he got
Come ac-
backlash.
It comes across as very egotistical. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm slurring my fucking words. Holy shit.
And I also wanted to agree on like his like I get what he was trying to say, that like the actual like you can't really say you're really good at something on a martial level if you don't have some way to apply it.
Yeah, I agree.
In fencing, sparring, which that was kind of like a. Sorry, that kind of hit personal for me because like that was something that one of my. It was an analogy that one of my photography professors would always go on about, like, you know, having that repetitive drill-based stuff when that only does so much. Like when he was comparing it to karate, for instance. But you can't say you're really good and you can't really say you would be good at those drills, at those repetitive drills, and, you know, memorize them and all that. But you can't really say you're good if you don't have some way to apply it, to actually be able to practice that and be able to bring that out should the moment arise in a pinch. You can't really say that without that sort of the feedback that you can only get via fencing, sparring, or any equivalent of that. So I identify with that a lot.
Yeah, so we actually largely agree with the point, even if it kind of goes against the whole, or the point that he just made, even if it goes against the point of the video.
We only got like maybe 3 minutes in. I think we should like look at everything he says and then like speak on it.
Here's the thing.
Yeah,
I've seen people try that, but when you do that, you miss. You could easily miss a lot of what they.
No. What I'm saying is that we are casting judgment at this very moment, whereas I think we should cast final judgment.
Yes, I agree. I
thing.
go with, you know, momentary bases, and then I try and go over everything once more, at least in my own head, even if I don't end up doing that on video. I probably should practice that a bit more. But you know, like, I analyze things in the moment, and then I look back on it and think, okay, well, how much of that really, you know, holds up and functions? It's...
Well, as of right now, he's holding up pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have too much to say.
Yeah, some disagreements here and there, but, you know, overall, you know, he's saying something with merit. I think we're all on the same page there.
Yeah.
And if you're also a YouTuber creating a lot of content, consuming a lot of media like anime, video games, and things like that, you don't have as much time to dedicate to getting good at the real thing.
I forgot he said that. That's fucking dumb.
Hang on, rewind really quickly. What did he just say? What did he just say?
Hey,
I wanna make sure
hey,
I heard
Hamoud.
He said touch grass. He said touch grass. Oh.
A lot of media like anime, video games, and things like that, you don't have as much time to dedicate to skill. It is a martial art. It is a art that we pursue through our entire lives. It's not something that you just get. And so to actually be good at fencing, you have to dedicate
That's not necessarily true.
And
No, we literally just went over that.
Experience is always.
Experience is king.
No, I mean, yeah, but like I'm saying, like there are people who are naturally good at this sort of thing.
If they have high reaction times.
Like if they high reaction times and whatnot, like yeah.
There are people who have an easier time. There are people who have an easier time.
That's what I'm trying to say. There are people who have like an easier way of going about these sort of things. So that's a little, what he's saying is a little bit off.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Like learning and following technique to an extent, you always want to sort of beat your opponent at the end of the day. But
Right.
Like, yes, you can be good from the very beginning. You can be like your reflexes are extra good. That just makes it a little bit harder on my part to beat you. I can still beat you. Like that's the idea. Like anyone who is more experienced is more likely to beat someone who is less experienced, even if
that goes without saying.
Right.
Yes. Even if that person has like more talent, well, talent only goes so far.
Right.
That's why wizards are better than sorcerers.
Right.
I had to put that D&D thing there. I had to.
I mean,
Nah, make a deal with a higher power. Go warlock.
Exactly. Use your brain.
and you can come off with a huge advantage, but say you have longer arms and you're using a tip-based weapon.
That's just a
can have
natural
weaknesses,
thing.
But
Exactly.
Like-
you want to go
Right.
into your strengths.
right,
Mhm.
you want to utilize those strengths, but even then, just having to solely rely on those strengths that you have from the get-go only goes so far. Having to go over it
Mhm.
further only enhances that.
Hmm.
So you can start off a little easier, start off with an easier time than others, but I wouldn't really necessarily say you would start off good with that. If that makes sense.
It does.
All right, so here's the point that we were trying to get at, and the one that I laughed.
And if you're also a YouTuber creating a lot of content, consuming a lot of media like anime, video games, and things like that, you don't have as much time to dedicate to getting good at the real thing. And so
He specified YouTubers watching anime don't have as much time to get to practice. It's like, bro, you can do both.
You do realize that you can take breaks from watching anime and practicing.
And you can,
Schologrim, yeah.
you can only practice so much too, because like your body will eventually
Exactly.
give out. So,
Exactly.
Well, if your body gives out, then you can go back and. His premise is very condescending here, and
yeah.
I can't give him the benefit of the doubt of being, oh, he's like it's misinterpreted. No, he's just being a dick right here. Like I would
Yeah,
say
that was straight up just a bad take. Also, I
Yeah.
like how that was the take he came out with right after you said that we should reserve final judgment.
It's like he's not helping himself here.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's just kind of fun just to take the piss out of it the moment we catch this shit. I mean, that's probably that's the thing about it.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very
Yeah.
we hear him say shit like this, and we're just like, we have to respond. There has to be a response, but yeah, I think we still should we should still watch the whole video through just to get like an overall more serious response for
Mm.
what the points he's trying to make here.
a lot of people who are popular and making popular stuff about swordsmanship don't actually fence. And that leads to a fundamental misunderstanding of how these things work.
So, I want to know who the fuck he's even talking about. Name one.
I do as well. I do as
Name
well.
one popular sword YouTuber that does not fence.
Honestly,
Yeah. Name
think-
one individual that doesn't practice what they
And,
preach.
and he
I
specified
would
popular.
say Metatron, but he's not a sword YouTuber. He's a history YouTuber.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
even if it was dedicated to Metatron, which it obviously was not.
I
That
mean,
was
even still,
so. Now
I mean-
let's take the elephant out of the room. It's dedicated to Shad.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what
It
about
clearly
Shad
is.
is like
Mhm.
That
so
much
okay.
we already
Shad
know.
has a disability. Shad cannot fight the way that he fights because obviously this is a strapping young man. Shad is quite a bit over he's an older gentleman. So
Mhm.
it's
Yes.
not
I
really
thought you were gonna say his
fair.
disability is that he uses AI art.
Well, there's that. But...
don't we still have to respond to that?
Ah.
No, fuck off. That's my response.
But yeah, so I'm really it looks like he's trying to get a fight because Scalagrim is too old to be involved in this. Shad, I think he's really going after Shad because Shad he likes going after shit like this.
Mhm.
Like this is the thing that he makes his videos on a lot of the time. But
Mhm.
it's petty. It's like, why, dude? Just focus on your shit. Make your shit extremely good so that people would look up to you instead of you going after other people. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
and
What's going on?
like I said,
You know,
who
I
the fuck
thought-
is he even talking about? Because every popular sword YouTuber does fencing. It's just not on screen necessarily.
Mhm.
I just have a thought. Just now that you brought that up, is this just as a theory? Is this his subtle way of trying to do the whole YouTube boxing thing except with swords?
Yeah,
That's
it
what
feels
kinda
like it.
Well,
feels
if that was the idea, all these people have swords. If that was the idea, then he should just announce, hey, I want to set up an event where all of us sword YouTubers get together and, show off our skills and our knowledge, and, to any of us that have any beef, we can, hash that beef out in the ring.
Amazing. That would be amazing.
That would be
What's
so
the
much
tournament
fucking
for
fun.
that? They
I
have
would pay
tournaments for
money
that.
to see that.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
But instead of doing that, he's just pulling out you can't watch anime and fight with real swords at the same time, even though you very clearly can. Like, I do.
Mhm.
I mean, you have to get inspired somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Right. Like, and
I know
that's
a
why
lot of
feel
people
like,
that were inspired from I guess Sasuke or Naruto for that matter, One Piece.
Mhm.
You need to be inspired by something, man. You can't.
Exactly. I was inspired by freaking Virgil, and I fucking love that shit.
Anime because
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I didn't get inspired myself from anime, so it's fucked up that I would say that because you got inspired from anime, you fuck you. That's
Like,
stupid.
I got
ins-
inspired
like-
by fairy tales, so that
Yeah.
says something about me. I just
Star Wars for me.
inspired by like childhood story tales, like the story of
Fucking-
St. George.
Fucking
got
Star
inspired.
Wars, Star Wars, Berserk,
Well, to be fair,
Devil May Cry, fucking God of War, even like, fuck, dude.
yeah, learn more about axe combat because Kratos is dope. Like,
Exactly.
How would an actual axe be used, and then you realize, oh, Kratos' axe is really actually very, very fucking silly, even without the magic. But then,
Yeah,
you realize,
can realize these
but
things.
it's so cool though. It looks cool.
So cool.
And you realize, well,
If
for the
you-
case of the game, it doesn't matter.
If you gatekeep, then people aren't going to they're not going to realize on their own that you're right, because his points are right for a lot of the time.
Mhm.
It's just don't be a gatekeeping asshole about it, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
want to,
This is
expose
you're not
this
defending
stuff.
Warhammer from people
Right.
that want to destroy it. You're actively telling people that the thing that got them into swordplay is cringe and unbased. You're
Mhm.
actively trying to kick them out of your community, bro.
It's not poggers.
Exactly.
Not poggers. All
And
right.
that's partly why I'm thinking like he's just trying to do his own version of that because it's like at least the way everybody else seems to do is that they get clout first, they start talking shit to each other, and then they challenge each other.
Mhm.
Instead of doing it like the actual fun way of just like putting up an event like you mentioned.
Mhm.
Holy
Why
shit!
Why would you call me that? Jesus Christ!
I think he's doing that as a YouTuber. Like
Yeah.
this right what he's doing right now is him as a YouTuber. This is not him as a swordsman. This is him as a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what, and that's what I figured. That's what he's trying to do because that's what it seems like now.
Really gonna let him call
Just
you a
as a
like
theory.
that?
Just as a theory.
East,
it
shut
on
up. You don't have to repeat.
But anyway, sorry. That was just a crackpot theory. I was
No,
I
mean, it
Just,
is crackpot, but I could see where it came from. Like, I hope that's the idea, but Shad rejected this man's call for a live stream to discuss it, so...
Which is stupid. Be like
Well, yeah, I think Shad should have accepted the call and been like, well,
How
even if
can you
he's not
make
going
a
to be good faith, I should
40-minute
still defend
review
myself.
video?
We could still probably talk to each other and clear up any misconceptions that either might have about the other.
oh yeah.
Like, even if he's not going to be good faith, I can still show my maturity by engaging with him in good faith.
Yeah.
Like, the
If
best
anybody wants-
disinfectant is sunlight. I will always say that.
If anybody wants to engage with me over something that I'm debating with them about in person, face to face, I will happily do it just to call them a cracker.
just for the pure satisfaction of it.
Yes.
And then just
Lol.
leaves, shows
And
up,
then
says cracker.
immediately leave.
Does
Like I'll
not-
show up in person, not even a Discord call. Like I'll just walk into the room.
Just go up to their door. Hey, just want to let you know, use a bitch.
Do I wait? Hold on. Do I have to censor that?
Oh,
But cracker? I don't think so. It's not racist if it's against white people.
Jesus Christ.
Well,
Jesus
now that
Christ.
you've said that,
Wow.
yes, I do have to censor it.
Okay.
Had you
Yes,
had
we
you
have to
just left
censor
it at like
Jesus'
oh
name.
like a fucking Triscuit cracker or whatever, then it's like well just
Yeah,
call them
it's-
just call them a fucking wafer.
I prefer chicken and a biscuit myself, honestly.
Chicken and a biscuit? What?
Shut the fuck up, cheese it.
What? Cheese?
Where did he come from?
I thought we were discussing swords, gentlemen. What
I
the
know,
hell
like,
is going on now?
What?
Where is this going?
Back to the video.
which leads to experiments and demonstrations and video
Do you guys mind if we go back just a few seconds so that we can actually get that point in full?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
popular stuff about swordsmanship don't actually fence. And that leads to a fundamental misunderstanding of how these things work, which leads to experiments and demonstrations and videos about swords and swordsmanship that are misinformed and not necessarily intentionally so, but they are.
Okay, so this does kind of harken back to
Sorry.
say again.
He is absolutely 110% right, and I feel like he is right to call Shad out on this because Shad's been doing some experiments that are fucking stupid.
Yeah, there's some dumb ones.
That's what he's calling out. I'm on his side in this part because I agree with him that in order, like, what is the purpose of having a gut sword? Just learn great sword, dude. Or just learn epee, or just learn.
Okay,
anything
I
like
actually
that.
saw that video. The idea is, well, what if they used magic or some sort of fantasy material to make
Why?
a well, for the sake of building a
Experiment,
more
right?
believable
That's
fantasy
his
world.
point. Like it's becomes silly.
Oh,
Like,
I
you
agree.
get out
I'm
of
not
the
a big fan
realm
of that
of-
video, but the idea
Yeah.
was, well, is there a way that we can use fantasy elements to bring a more believable version of a fantasy world where there are these giant swords?
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of the big sword trope. Like, I really only care when it's Guts or Cloud, if I'm being honest. It's very rare that I see a big sword and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
You
Right.
know what? I think this is a YouTube problem. Like, it's not a swordsman problem; it's a YouTube problem because you're bored. You need to get people entertained, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
this is like an easy way to do it. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. It's literally just clout.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, there is actually one. There are some of those experiments that Shad has done that are actually very legitimate. Like, you know,
Fire arrows, great. That looked great.
yeah,
video.
the double-edged sword.
Mhm.
I personally wouldn't
Yeah.
build it like that, but having like a long glaive on either side of a pole arm, that's entirely viable. Like to the point where it's basically a double-edged, or not double-edged, like a double-bladed sword, and then treating it like a pole arm, like he does in that
Mhm.
experiment. That's that's
I-
fun. Like that's
I
great.
would have to disagree
But they even
on
clarify in
that
the video.
because
It would probably be a bitch and a half to carry, so it's probably not really worth doing. But this was fun, and you know they're doing it for the sake of fun. They're not doing it to be like, well, here's how history could have actually gone. No. Well, I mean, he kind of did in some of his earlier videos,
And-
but then he literally
and-
addresses those problems by looking at real
To
history,
be-
being like, with the backstabber,
and-
well, people wore cloaks, so
And to be fair to Shad, he's old. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
well,
Yeah.
he's also his own man. He can do
Even-
whatever the fuck he wants.
Exactly. Like,
But
Shut
by
up.
doing whatever he wants, he also leaves himself open to this. So this is viable. This is reasonable.
Yeah,
If
no,
you are
like,
doing what
I
you
think-
want, then
you know, like I
think
agree with you on
criticism of
that.
what he does is more than viable. We literally
Mm-hmm.
just said that some of the videos that he does are kind of, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
Mhm.
a little bit iffy.
That said, Shad does fence. He just doesn't do it on
Mhm.
screen.
hmm
Or at least not as much as he
I've
used to.
seen how he fences, and Sellsword is better. I'm just gonna be completely honest.
Oh, I won't say that he's a great fencer, but he, in the very least, gets that practice
does-
in. He does
he-
have a
yeah.
fundamental understanding of how swords work in reality, and he even
I've
like
seen
He does. He does practice what he preaches.
Yeah,
Fuck.
and he even clarifies in these
uses warp
experimentation videos that they're just silly experiments. Like, he knows why nobody did it in the past. Even if he doesn't
is
make
why
it
this is
explicitly
useful.
clear, you know? He still points it out every now and then.
But Shad very recently started using steel swords for the very first time. I want to say almost in like 2017. So, and he's only used it like very sparingly. He has not. He focused on LARP weapons, which is what you see a lot of the time on his channel. The techniques he uses are LARP techniques. Like when he does that silly kickback thing while like moving his body forward, that's a fucking LARP technique. It's just contact with the enemy. It's not an actual, actual technique.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it feels like I'm ranting. I respect the guy a lot, but it's like
No, you're good.
sometimes
You're good.
he makes some silly decisions.
Oh yeah, no,
you know?
I don't think anyone here would disagree that as fun as Shad's content is, he's a silly man.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely not the end all be all when it comes to like sword
Yeah,
content.
and-
He's definitely not like the last word.
And
Mhm.
honestly, I just wish that Sellsword here had taken a bit more consideration into the ones that function and even the reason why he does it. Shad doesn't do these experiments because of a fundamental lack of understanding on how swords work. He does it because he wants to see how you can retool
can it
fantasy
do?
stories to make them a bit more realistic. And that's always been the point of his channel. Always.
I would have to say to bite back on that a little bit, especially with the double-bladed sword thing, because fundamentally, if you look at it like from a reasonable point of view, that's silly.
Oh, no, I agree.
I agree.
Or at least in terms of like carrying it around, like, but as
Carry- as
if
a,
you have,
like,
if you have
that-
a long
it
enough
is a-
handle, if you have a long
it is
enough
a
handle,
very
a double-edged like
It is a very effective dueling weapon. Yeah.
If you have a long enough handle and you treat it more like a polearm than a sword, and
Mhm.
also of course shorten the blades a little bit, maybe don't use long
Mhm.
sword blades, that's actually a perfectly viable weapon and even has some, albeit modified, basis in real history.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's
As being
So, excuse me.
I was basically just going to summarize everything that I had said with the beef between these two really comes down to just a fundamental lack of clarity and understanding where the other's coming from. And Sellsword, whether he means to or not, is really coming across as pretty gatekeepy and elitist with this. And like I said, whether he means to or not, I don't know that he means to be like, oh, your favorite anime is trash and you should feel retarded and no sword for you. I don't think that's what he means to do here. But we still need to address the points.
However,
and-
my favorite anime is trash, and I feel retarded.
However, we
Well,
should still address
I
the
think-
points being made as they are made and try and, better ourselves as discussers. This is something that I think this is a standard that everyone should hold ourselves to and each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Any disagreements on that, or are we?
Yeah,
No
I
disagreement.
think it's just another instance of just really, really bad delivery on what he's
Yeah.
really tried to say.
Yeah, that's pretty much the bulk of my criticism. I mean, there's still the whole, there's still the whole outdated argument and the well, you can't watch anime and two swords at the same time. That's just silly.
I think that point is also being misconstrued, but his delivery does not help with that in any way.
Yeah.
No.
Oh no,
I
it
know
doesn't.
we're missing something, but he's not providing what we're missing.
Yeah.
Right.
And the
I
question
mean-
arises: why?
Oh, sorry.
And I mean, you can't literally watch anime and fight with a sword at the same time.
Fucking watch me.
Yeah, you haven't tried hard enough. Try harder,
my beer.
bitch.
I mean, I worked out while watching Vinland Saga. I mean, how fucking hard can it be, right?
Right.
Fight someone with
Oh,
a sword
multitask,
while trying to
multitask.
also understand Evangelion.
Oh God.
Okay, that might be an impossibility.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You'll be a little distracted.
Indeed. Indeed.
Why is this important? We're not using swords to fight anymore, so why does it matter if our media and everything else is totally inaccurate? Well, the real answer is it doesn't, but it's just kind of stupid to be misinformed. I get a lot of comments.
Yeah, I'd say I generally agree with that.
I get a lot of comments. Okay.
No, it's I didn't. I interrupted him. Let's.
No, I know, but I chose to canonize pause. So.
Nice, the pause.
The pause.
It is written.
Saint pause.
It is
It is written.
So it is so.
It is written.
Foretold in the scrolls.
Eastius, the patron saint of the pause.
It was foretold in
Has
the
spoken.
scroll bars.
Comments in my comment section saying so and so did an experiment and it proves XYZ, and when I look at the experiment I can see all the problems with it and how it wasn't set up in such a way to accurately represent the way that these weapons would work. Maybe
Yeah, no, I think that people do kind of get the wrong idea and could.
You do, yeah.
Let's be honest, it's Shad. Could Shad be a little bit clearer that it's more for fun? Yeah, absolutely. But could we as individuals also be, think critically and realize he's not doing this to be like, why didn't medieval people do this? Were they dumb?
Yeah.
Right.
There
I would
is
say
a
that
level
a lot
of
of his audience
moderation.
is younger. A lot of his audience is younger, and they sort of believe this to be true. Whereas if you look at like when we get older, then we start thinking critically. Because I've seen a lot of comments under Shad's videos. A lot of those people are children, like straight up like milk drinkers. You know what I'm saying, gentlemen?
Yeah.
So-
Ew.
Oh god.
That
Oh, God.
I had not considered that. That is a fair point.
That is a fair point. I will say though, going back to the double blade video really quickly,
Drinking milk from the double blade.
we love Darth Maul. We love Darth Maul. So
We?
if I could shut up,
Yes,
East,
we.
shut up. If I could do that, I fucking would.
Yeah, use a quarterstaff.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely do it. You can 110% do it. Just use a different tool.
Yeah.
Like, that's
And
what
take
my
Zumba
teacher
classes.
and I think, and I'm pretty sure he's well aware. Like it. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's well aware. Like if he is like if he has people who are older watching this and whatnot, they're gonna take everything that he's gonna say with a grain of salt. That
Yeah.
I'm pretty
But
sure.
Look at Shad's editing style. It is very much for kids. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah,
Like,
his family-friendly energy and demeanor as well. I can.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
for kids.
that is fair.
Whereas with
He should
Sellsword,
probably
I
be a
mean,
little bit
like-
clearer that it's just an experiment for fun.
Like
Yeah,
and
with
I-
Sellsword,
yeah.
he has an older audience. I mean, obviously, look at the stuff
Right.
that he has in the background. Look at how he's speaking.
Right.
It's an older
Right.
audience he's talking to.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think he's just putting a lot of faith in that audience to know that he's just kind of just doing it just for the shiggles, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think most of us do come away with that idea, but there are
But that's
children
putting
who are
in a
coming
leap
in
of
now
faith
because
there.
they're growing up, so they're coming into this community
Mhm.
now, not having all that prior context, and that is actually a very good point. Thank you for actually clarifying and considering that.
Mhm.
they were using,
Didn't Cell Sword Arts also do a double bladed sword video?
Yes, and
As
it
a
was
joke.
terrible.
He does them as jokes, I believe, as memes. Like he literally.
if I remember correctly- If I remember correctly, the handle was far too short for him to be doing any of what he was doing.
Yeah,
He also used it too much like a sword. You would have to use this thing like a bow staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels like that was just memey, yes, but at the same time, it feels like it was bad faith. If that makes any sense.
yeah. I'm kind of on the same page there.
In the middle of sentences where it just cuts out. And it's like, God damn it! I wanted to hear what they had to say.
Repeat what you said, Rogar.
I had asked if I'm trying. Sorry, I have to retrace my steps really quickly. I had asked.
Mimi, but bad
I had
faith.
asked if. Yeah, Mimi, but bad faith. It feels like Sword Art's own double-bladed sword video thing. Uh, while definitely very heavy on the meme, it was also done in bad faith. Am I the only one who gets that?
Let me actually see this video, so I will have like fresh, fresh eyes, because I've never seen this video before. So
Okay. Let
He
me.
basically
Kinda spaced out on it.
taped two long swords together at the handle.
Mhm.
He did not give
Mhm.
he did not give the he didn't modify it like Shad did to have an extended handle so that you could use it like a pole arm, and he tried to use it like a
Mhm.
long sword. But
Mhm.
But okay, so if you do that like the way that Shad had it done, that other blade is probably gonna nip your leg.
not if
not-
you're being aware of where you're placing everything. Like, it's a weapon that would require a lot of practice, and so having pretty similar drawbacks to the nunchucks. Lots of practice for pretty much the same effect you could get from a lot of other weapons.
Mhm.
Not quite as drastic as the nunchucks, but still. Just practice your footwork, understand where your weapon is and where it's going, and like really just treat it as a quarterstaff with edge alignment. You know, like you said.
Mhm.
Uh,
I would say so.
yeah, it's really not that hard.
It's just it puts a lot of danger on yourself because there's an entire blade that is aiming at you. So it's very like you have to be very, very careful, and there's a reason why they didn't do this in real life, even though, it seems kind of logical. Like that's a whole lot of blade.
Well, yeah. Well,
Aiming
right.
really, I think the main reason they didn't do it wasn't because it's not viable. It's just keep in mind most combat was done in warfare at this time, and you needed to carry that thing around. How the fuck are you going to sheath that? Now, with
Oh,
a
then in
pole arm,
that
you just
case-
have it over your shoulder and keep the blade up. Well, now you got two blades.
You can halberd or you half sword it.
That,
Carrying it
and
wouldn't
it-
be too much of an issue if you just half sword the bottom and keep the bottom in the sheath and the top exposed. Like
Mhm.
that's a feasible way you can.
Oh,
carry it.
yeah,
I
like a
would say-
modified sheath so that you could carry it like a pole arm. Yeah, that could work, actually.
But I would say
But it's
it
also
wasn't-
just the cost effectiveness of
There's
having
a-
to like. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No,
No, go ahead.
Make
go ahead.
two swords as opposed to just one
Well,
glaive.
not just that, but also just the amount of training that person, that an individual person has to do in order to use that effectively
Yeah.
in that instance, instead of training a bunch of guys with a bunch of pointy sticks that can do just as good of a job.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
one guy with a one-sided glaive as opposed to a two-sided glaive could probably get pretty similar results.
It's literally
And the
like
glaive
a
already
hard.
works like
Oh.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Especially,
You have a
especially if you
blade,
have
and then you have
the
quarterstaff
pommel
now.
modified.
Yeah.
Right.
And think about
So,
okay,
yeah.
so with a double-bladed sword, you're just getting two blades. The other sword is not doing an extra job. Like with a warhammer, you have like a Bekti carbon or the actual, like the beak of the
Mhm.
warhammer, and then you have the like hammer of the warhammer, right? Those are two completely different jobs, right?
Mhm.
This sword is doing it's just the same job. It's useless I would say.
I wouldn't quite say useless
Mm.
because when you strike with the one sword, then if it does get parried, then you have another one that you can immediately follow up with,
You also have-
which you could do by
Do
just
a
using two
Svartholm.
swords.
You also have. I think you would have a little bit more
Even
defense
sword
than
down.
just the one blade as well.
That
Or
would be
long
true,
sword,
yes,
short
because you
sword,
could,
or-
if the one blade gets knocked out of the way, then you could use that to like turn that into momentum and strike,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
strike
But not
before
as much momentum. But not as much momentum because
True,
if you are
true.
doing, let's say, a Svartholm, and I've actually used this against you before, you know how like quick that can happen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So a Svartholm, you need that momentum. If you lose that momentum, if another blade gets in the way, then it's not nearly as I would say effective in that hit. it turns all of your strikes that would have been like cleaving into taps, and I would say that is a very big issue.
I would agree.
Because
I can
this is
agree
a
with that.
longsword, right? A longsword, you are using your full body to like hit into the enemy. That is putting a lot of force into the enemy. Whereas if you have it like this,
Right.
a good
It's
portion
not-
of that.
No. Sorry, it's like it's not just a cut. You're hewing.
Yeah,
You're doing
exactly,
this with the intent of cutting all the way through, and even when you're training with that, you're swinging all the way through. You don't stop halfway through. You don't stop anywhere really.
Yeah.
You're doing with the intent that yeah, you're definitely not going to cut all the way through them right away, every strike and whatnot. But the intent is to literally cut through them or cut as deep as you possibly can.
Well, I think you could still do that with the double-bladed sword, but like I said, you can get similar cost effectiveness in terms of momentum or just warfare economics by giving someone a sword or glaive as opposed to a two-sided sword.
I
Mhm.
just feel like this, like as in like that's how they term it because of that reason.
Yeah.
It's not just a cut; it's a hew.
Yeah.
Like how literally means hew,
Mhm.
like as in hewing a bush.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oberhau, Zwerghau, Ochtau, like those are all like, cuts, dedicated cuts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's not like just any kind of cut. You're planning on like cutting through.
Yeah.
If possible, you're definitely not going to do it every cut, but you're planning on going straight through.
I would also say, and this is a little bit of a detriment to the double blade, your placement, being aware of your surroundings and where your allies are. If this were in like an open combat scenario and whatnot, like you're on a
Mhm.
battlefield and shit, you would want to be aware of where you're cutting. You don't want to cut your allies down if that happens. And this is
not a battlefield weapon.
yeah, it's not. This is a dueling weapon. It's not like it's not meant to be in the field. Like this is 100% a dueling weapon, and I can agree with you that you would 110% not use this on the field.
yeah.
And
Well,
as a
and you
dueling
wouldn't
weapon-
even realistically bring it to a duel because
Yeah,
in many periods of time, in many places, dueling was illegal.
yeah,
Well, even
Meaning that if
besides
you're carrying that around, you're clearly carrying it around not for self-defense, but for, fucking around. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
if you just have a rapier or dagger, then it's like, no, this is for if someone robs me. Doesn't matter if you're actually going to a duel or not. Some highwayman could come
The
up to
thing
you
that
with
so
a
many-
dagger,
the
and
thing
you
that
need to
so many
defend
people-
yourself.
The thing that so many people forget about with swords is balance.
Mhm.
Balance is so important with swords. It can turn like a sword from a light cavalry saber, which is extremely light, to a heavy cavalry
God.
saber, which is extremely heavy. Which
I love those things.
oh yeah, I specialize in those. Like,
It's
That-
literally
that-
all they work with in Olympic fencing. It's literally, at least with FA and foil, that's literally all they work with. Is most of those parries is just using the opponent's the balance of the opponent's blade against them.
exactly.
Oh, so it's
Imagine your
like
balance is
Centered
thrown
entirely
completely out of
around
whack because you have another fucking sword attached to that sword.
Right.
Your balance is gone. You can try
Right.
using it like a bow staff, but then your edge alignment would falter because
Mhm.
edge alignment is so hard to do.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh my
hard
God.
to do.
Mhm.
And so imagine that you not only have one blade, but you have another blade, and you're trying to do like a backhanded cut. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work out very well for you.
Mhm.
That's why with a glaive, that's a quarterstaff. It doesn't. You don't have a edge alignment with a quarterstaff. You just bonk them.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, or
Right.
like the pole hammer that I have, where it has like a pommel at the end that's a spike, so that I can treat the spike like a spear, and then use that to parry or thrust or feint, and then come in with the hammer.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
with the double-bladed sword, well, now I gotta watch, instead of just having a hammer right by my ear, I have a whole 2-3 foot of blade sticking out behind me. So yeah, that is
I can't stop thinking about like the various Greek spear dances and whatnot, because like that's kind of like the idea. Like, that's kind of like the idea with a lot of the techniques that they were, at least they're trying to recreate, where if that initial thrust doesn't go through, they swing around the side, stab with the other end, and swing again. But that swing isn't just a reposition; it's also acting as a backup strike. So if you're like trying to stab him like in the head, that first one missed, you swing around, still striking at the head from the side. You're still using that shaft as a way to just to bash him on the side of the head. It'd be great if you managed to dent through, but if it doesn't, it's a great way to stun them for you to reposition and stab with that butt end.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just like it'd be great in that sense, but like otherwise I don't really see that really working out as a sword.
There are actually cases of a double-bladed sword in India, but the way that they use it is an extended pommel.
Right.
So like everything that you're doing is like, it's typically a single-handed sword, but you have an extended pommel.
Leave
So
it
if
to
that
the
initial
Indians to
start-
come up with the crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
You're telling me,
Oh, yeah.
man. Like push daggers the size of broadswords? Like what the hell is going on?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
What are you
The
thinking?
Indians are.
Buddy, we have to come up with Bollywood one day or another.
Bro,
It's an actual conversation.
You know,
I got through watching Sellsword's video of the double-edged sword, and I would have to agree with him a lot. Like everything that I've talked about, he's talking about too. Like it is like it. I'm gonna say it. It's silly.
okay.
Mhm.
Anyway, on the topic of funny Indian voices, I made a joke. I don't remember what it was, but some months ago I made a joke about the Buddha being spiritual support, not tech support.
Say it.
Brother, I am
Same
here to
here.
help your spirit. I cannot fix your computer.
You have reached the
Home
Buddha.
support,
For
not
tech
IT support.
press 2. For spiritual support, press 1.
For spiritual support, press Buddha.
To realign your chakras, press 3.
Have you tried unplugging and replugging your chakra?
If you have diarrhea, that is a personal issue. Call your doctor.
You might need to call a physician. Get
Either
checked out.
that or just stop eating curry.
Of course, the weak ass white boy says don't eat curry.
I like how you said that in what might be the whitest voice you've ever used.
No.
Oh, God.
We've heard the whiter one.
Oh. Oh.
I don't appreciate this racism, by the way. This is very offensive.
What the fuck did you just?
I don't think we should. No. Being serious. I mean, serious here for
Yeah,
a second.
100% cereal, right?
There
yeah,
is
absolutely.
no reason whatsoever to be making fun of Indian people, and I am appalled, frankly, that we would be doing that here.
The Ethiopian says this, yeah.
Shut the fuck up down there! Sorry, I was yelling at the girl that I kidnapped during the Holly Festival. Anyway,
Okay. Anyway, let's
Make sure to feed them at least twice a month.
Damn it.
at least.
At least, bruh.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh
I-
my goodness.
Back around. Let's
before,
circle
yeah,
back.
before we
Yeah.
get further on this
Yeah.
tangent, let's get back to the video.
Weapons that weren't up to snuff, maybe their technique wasn't very good, maybe they just had a misunderstanding of how fencing works, and now I have to deal with those comments. So maybe this is a selfish video, maybe this is a video that just, it's my personal pet peeve. But I do believe that accurately understanding the way that swordsmanship works is valid and it's worthwhile. And it might not be crucial for every single piece of sword media to be accurate, but it's something that I think that we should understand and have a deeper, appreciation for.
Yeah, I 100% actually. I completely agree.
I
with
agree
him
with that, yeah.
Don't be a dick about it. Like
Yeah.
he's literally like that's straight. when he's saying, I have to deal with these comments. No, you fucking don't, dude. Don't
Well,
reply
guess
to the
what?
comments.
You're not the only one
Yeah.
having to deal with that kind of shit. I'm pretty sure all the other ones have been having to deal with that shit.
And-
Boo-hoo.
And
Mhm.
All of us
someone that
have,
makes
I'm
fucking
sure, as
content-
well.
As someone that makes content, having people talk to you is like that is the source for so much. Of course, happiness that like people are interacting with you,
Mhm.
but also it's like you have the ability to make a video off of that and be like, actually, this is wrong for this reason, and you don't have to be a dick about it. It's
Yeah, exactly. Like when, for example, let's say someone says on one of your videos, I thought a Talwar was just a big katana because of a joke that they heard in Sword Art Online abridged, and then you could use that as like a springboard to be like, well, no, like here's actually all the
I can make a whole
differences,
video
like
about
talking about the
katanas
history and the
because of
techniques and all that, and even like
Exactly.
sort of inviting that comment into the fold and being like, this is a place of learning rather than using it as a springboard for mockery.
exactly.
Also-
exactly.
The also, I don't even think that was a tall war.
Oh, no, that
I need
was
to see a
clearly not
picture
a
of
tall
it.
war.
Yeah,
That was
saying
some
Talwar.
weird
No.
V-shaped machete. I
That
don't
was
know what the
that
fuck
was
that
that was that was
You know
that
what?
was just
Let me
weird.
Look it up. What do I need to look up?
I think it's in Sword Art Online Abridged Episode 2. I'll put a
Sword Art
clip in the edited video.
Online.
It looks more like a giant like
Machete.
cleaver with a big old V at the front of it. And it's
Yeah.
like that is
Yeah.
either a
Yeah, that's
Nodachi
a
or a
cleaver.
Talwar. What the fuck are you
Yeah.
saying?
I can find any.
Yeah.
What the hell? So Sword Art Online.
Abridged.
Abridged.
Although to be fair, I think they actually did pull that joke from the original text of the anime, but I'm not sure. I
Well,
haven't
my
seen
Google's
the
just
original
saying-
SAO in years.
Neither have I.
I cannot find. If you guys can find a picture,
Like I said, I'm gonna post an image of it in the edited video when it goes up. So
because I have no idea what you're talking about, and
you're gonna cringe when you see it. Trust me. Just like when the video goes live and you get to that, just type the timestamp and say cringe.
Mm.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Good versus bad.
So I've spoken about experiments on YouTube a number of different times. There's been quite a few content creators who have tested things out. We've done it. We did the Great Reverse Group experiment. We started to do some spinning experiments. We've done certain situational things, and we always give you kind of the way that we're testing things. Now, I admit that sometimes in the past I've done an experiment and then I've learned things later and I've gone back and corrected myself, which is crucial. If whoever you're watching is not able to correct themselves and say they were wrong when they learned something new, they're not worth watching. But a lot of these experiments
which is funny because
Ironic.
both.
Didn't he do that a lot?
Well, no, he actually does. But in the case of the drama between him and Shad, neither have corrected themselves on. I mean, there is a follow-up video that Sellsword does, and where he does clarify some of the points that he meant. It's like he does clarify that the way he said
We'd have
things.
to
It's like,
watch
okay,
that. We'd have to watch
that's clearly
that
not what I
again.
meant. Here's what I actually meant. But there are points to which both it's like, I mean, you could be a little bit better, Faith, and I'm saying this
Yeah.
both ways.
Right.
Sellsword doesn't like in comments he acts like this, but Shad he thrives off of this sort of thing because like that's what his channel has been about for a while, and like
Hmm.
he uses it as a springboard because people are interested in drama. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, even if like any kind of drama people are interested in. Like back when Leafy was there, it was fucking Leafy drama. Like
Oh, yeah.
people love drama. That's what people
Yeah,
do.
he's
Yeah,
like
I'm guilty of it.
He's
and that's
feeding
what-
into that.
and that's why I figured this is like a subtle way of them doing the whole boxing thing because they're doing the YouTuber thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Shad didn't want to do a live stream when he could make a 40-minute video is YouTuber shit, you know? Like,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not being a human being.
Mhm.
That's, oh, I'm a YouTuber and I'm making content.
Yeah, why not? Why
Right.
not do both? Make the content while also showing up on the live stream. That way
Right.
you get the best of
No,
both
because
worlds.
It would-
the live stream.
Not only that, you would also be saving
Yeah,
face
monetize.
by doing
Monetize
that.
a live stream.
Not just that. You would also be saving face by doing that too. So really, this just paints you in a bad light by not accepting the offer.
Or at least make a post saying why you couldn't do it. Because I
Right.
haven't seen anything about it. Like, if he was genuinely busy, like, if his wife was having a baby, yeah, dude, just don't do
Right.
that.
You got big
Right.
The Shad came to the conclusion after watching the response video that Sellsword makes to Shad's original response. He came to the conclusion that Sellsword is being bad faith. And as such, he doesn't want to be on the stream. And to be fair, Shad does make very valid criticisms about a comment that I think his name is David. Let's just say Sellsword. Sellsword does say later in this video that he has, or no, not this video. It was the follow-up video. Sorry, that he does delete comments that are, particularly negative. Because it's a family-friendly channel and he doesn't want to be associated with that level of toxicity.
I do that too.
But there are a ton of instances where he's being very toxic in his own comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Chief Eddie. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah.
What the fuck is that?
What? What?
Fucking profile picture.
Alistair, pleasure to meet you.
I thought you posted something in the server for a sec.
Yeah, I was like wondering, did I miss something? Did somebody just post
Oh,
something?
it's
I
just the
didn't see it.
profile picture.
Okay, gotcha.
So, Mr. Fetty, are you going to be joining us?
Well,
I
he's here,
guess
isn't he?
so. At least for a bit.
Gotta go back to planning 912.
They all join us down here eventually.
Oh, let's keep the video as...
Was that another Hell reference?
Yes.
Yes.
I like how you both said that at the same
Right,
time.
That's what I'm laughing about.
We're on the same wavelength,
With
man.
pause and everything.
Wild.
Hell length.
You're in the same circle.
Yes.
Damn.
The ninth circle.
Yeah, but it's spelled 9 like no because Hitler's here. Say hi, Hitler. No, he's shy.
Shake Heil!
Hitler got a little shy ever since he put that hole in his head. He's too embarrassed to show it to people.
Embarrassed to speak even.
Yeah, exactly.
Speak even. Oh my god.
Okay, let's cool it with the Hitler jokes though, for real. Like, let's not
Anyway.
make light. Like my great grandfather died in the Holocaust. Okay, dumbass fell out of the guard tower.
I knew it. I knew it. I cannot take a single thing that you say that comes out of your mouth seriously. I knew
Hey,
it.
Roger, what was that you said about the way East talks?
He has such a quality of bullshit to his like you can't.
I could tell you all how old I am and none of you would believe it.
Exactly.
12 and a half.
12 and a half? Ah, you're close.
Yeah.
I'm actually 29.
So 12 and a half.
Right. 29's the new 12 and a half.
12 and a half. I hate it.
There's a pedophile joke in there, but I'm gonna skip that and go back to the video.
I got 12 and a half for that 12 and a half.
It's
Oh,
also done
no.
with, like foam swords
Oh,
exclusively, or they're not geared up, or they're done in kind of situations where there's very
Geared up. Excuse me. Not geared up. Not geared up.
I'm glad
so,
you caught
like
that.
they did back in the past. So, like Lichtenauer teaches, not geared up. What, you think Lichtenauer was wearing, like, fucking spez jackets? No. He was naked half the time. Like, a homie
Yeah.
would just bring a sword.
He was just balling it. Legit. He was
like-
legit.
What if the experiment is as simple as, oh, here's a new sword, I know nothing about it. Let me do some test cuts. Like, does that
Exactly.
count as an experiment? It's probably not the type of experiment he's talking about, because, like I said, it's clear he's talking about Shad. But this is the problem with having such vagaries, that you kind of end up incidentally including things that are clearly not what you're talking about. So just be clear.
Come on, work this time.
I was criticizing the problem with being vague in a video like this, because the problem with him being so vague is that he sort of, whether he means to or not, incidentally includes things that he clearly it does not talk about.
Yeah.
And so
You
like,
didn't
as
have
a
to say
result, it's
gear.
like, oh, here, I have a new sword. Let me get my gear on to test cut it. It's, no, you don't clearly need to fucking do that. And obviously that's not what he means. But in being so vague, someone could easily misconstrue that and come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you leave something vague to begin with, you just leave it up to that interpretation anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, I think I'm gonna say it might sound condescending, but he's a HEMA guy.
Yeah.
So like HEMA guys are like this. Like they a lot of them, and I don't mean all of them, but a lot of HEMA guys like they think that everything is HEMA. They think that if you're doing swords, it has to be in HEMA, or it has to be fencing, or it has to be kendo. There's nothing else.
That's not true.
they're basically
At all.
the new iteration of the Katana fanboys.
It's not true at all. But a lot of HEMA guys are like stuck in this idea because what HEMA is, it's essentially a sport. Real sword fighting was not a sport. Real sword fighting was life or death. you
Yeah.
know?
That was like
Uh,
those manuals were written specifically for people to maim and kill each other. And
Mhm.
I understand that they had a different culture
look
about
in the-
violence back in those days, but that was
You see
still a
what they're
last
wearing?
resort.
yeah. In those
And-
manuals, some of them are naked. Some of them have a loincloth with rapiers fighting.
And those
You know,
fuckers
and
are
he's talking about
bleeding.
gear?
People die in those books, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about gear. Shut the fuck up.
I'm glad that you're the one that went the hardest on that one.
No, you know how I fight. Like,
Yeah.
I wear robes.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say naked, but I mean, you know, I would hope you're not naked. I don't want to see
Yeah.
that.
This man's gonna come out here and show you what a real man looks like when he fights.
Either that, or you got some real flappy and colorful skin, dude. Like,
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ.
You know, limited testing circumstances, or maybe they're testing for too broad of a thing. And you can kind of watch a video, and if you use common sense, you can see the pitfalls of an
I'm sorry, I have to.
lot
It's
of
just
yours.
criticizes being too broad is too broad. Sorry, I just had to.
experiment. I'm sure there's some experiments that we've done that aren't ideal. And, you know, those are things I want to go back and I want to fix and I
call
want to
me
look
fucking
at. The
fat?
best experiment or
Did you call me
exploration.
fucking fat?
What?
What?
You did.
Did you call me fat?
What?
You asshole.
No, what?
Oh, because you said I was broad.
No, no,
Oh,
no,
you
no,
meant
no,
me.
no, no.
No, you're talking about.
No, I was talking. I was
had to think
criticizing
about it for a second.
I was making I was making a joke at the video. No, he said, "Oh, they're being too broad," and I said, "Criticizes people being too broad. He's too broad with his points."
I thought you were talking about me, and I was like, oh,
No, no. No, 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 no.
You are
If
wrong,
that was the
though,
case,
I am
I would
very
call
broad.
you the broadsword.
I would say so, yes, yes. Hey,
Just don't be fat.
Alright.
that's fair. That is fair. That's my bad. I
Just-
apologize. I will be better in the future.
Yeah, just be skinny enough to be carried by the wind.
Just be not big. Yes.
just shrink down to tiny.
I got my potion ready. Let me shrink for a moment.
Hold on, let me shoot myself in the face with a shrink ray.
Jesus.
Honey, I shrunk myself.
Little brain hours here.
The technique is done in full
Reverse Mega Mind.
gear with steel swords because that's the closest that we can get to replicating the way these things would have actually been done. When we do it in low gear or no
In
gear
harness
with
technique.
foam swords, every single one of those is a compromise that's letting us not do this to the fullest extent that we could. For safety's sake, the performance of the weapon, or you name it, all of those things detract from the validity of an experiment that's being done. It's
I'm not sure that that's entirely true. Like, I get what he's trying to drive at, and I do kind of agree that you should, to understand how a steel sword would work, you should probably try and practice with some sort of synthetic steel sword. But that doesn't mean that, I don't think that means that, like, even foam. I mean, you should probably have like a plastic or steel core behind that foam, but I don't think that invalidates even practice technique with foam. It just, it's just not ideal.
I have to agree with him in regards to foam, because I have a foam sword and I have multiple real swords and I have synthetics. That foam sword, I can do shit with that I can't do with any other sword for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's light.
And it gives you a false sense
there.
of security. Like, I
Right.
was doing training technique with the Ottoman manual. I have to do an underarm cut, so I need to hit at the enemy's armpit. I tried it with a foam sword, super easy. I tried it with wood, a little bit harder. I picked up my steels to do it, and my wrist was almost breaking because of like the angle and the heaviness of the blade.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
you gotta account for the weight of a blade when you're. So you have to like move your body
Exactly.
as well as your arm and wrist sometimes.
So he's right there, but I have to say, once again, he is a Hema guy. He's doing harness fecton, and he's doing it like. You have to understand, if you're in full armor, if you hit the enemy with a sword, it's not going to kill them. What you have to do is you have to do half swording techniques, and you have to hit them where there is no armor. So even when he's doing harness fecton, he's not doing harness fecton right. You know, it's like, how dare he say all this shit when he himself is, fucking it up.
Isn't doing it correctly, yeah.
Exactly. If you want to do harness fecton, say I want to do harness fecton and I fight harness fecton, right? Or if you want to do Hema, say you're a Hema channel. Don't say you're a swordsman. Say you're a Hema swordsman. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because it's like he said earlier in the video, and we all agreed with. Although to be fair, we were more expounding upon what he said rather than he saying it. But we all have our different experiences and focuses and skills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's doing harness fecton, but not harness fecton. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
It's crucial for our viewers to be critical of the experimenter or the presenter. You shouldn't just take everything somebody says with a grain of salt, including me. I've done experiments
100%.
before where maybe I didn't have the proper testing procedures, or maybe I didn't have a crucial piece of evidence or information, and that makes my experiment invalid. I can't.
I don't know that it makes it invalid, but it does definitely make it less.
It does make it
less
less credible, yeah.
I don't know.
Most
Like, I'm trying to
experiments
think.
in
Like, what kind of
general-
information would have to be missing so that your experiment is just entirely null and void?
Your enemy is not actually fighting back. Big thing.
Well, yeah,
Fair.
that would probably. But like, in terms of like information, not practice.
In terms of information, your sources, make sure you double check them. Make sure you read them correctly.
Yeah,
That
I'm not
is
sure that
so
makes an experiment invalid, though. It just makes it, inaccurately sourced.
That's fair. But then, like, if it's an experiment, that means that it was not done before, or if it was done before, it's not mainstream.
Or
So
you
we
couldn't
have
find a source
sources
for it.
Exactly. So we wouldn't
Right.
have sources for it. Now, that being said, if it's an experiment, it's like it already is sort of in that gray area where you're
Right.
not going to be taking it too seriously because
You're working with
they didn't
theoreticals
take
at
it
that
seriously
point.
back in the past. So you can use like a lot of what I use is experimental because I use it when I fight. Like Trisket knows, I fight to win or I fight to get that point. I don't fight to show off technique, right?
Mhm.
My
So
wrist
I
still
would
hurts.
do technique. Exactly, I would do technique, but if the technique fails, I would wing it. That's how you experiment. That's how I feel experiment is super important.
Hell, there was that reverse scimitar and shield thing that I tried. Didn't work out, but it was still fun to like try and like play with the weight of the sword.
Exactly. And that's invaluable. That's important.
Mhm.
But you didn't, say that, oh, this is a technique you can use. No, you tried it out, it failed. Like that's how
Yeah.
experiments go.
And if I had like
Yeah,
a better balanced sword, or even just a better understanding of how shields are properly move and function, I think that would actually be like the furthering of that experimentation. Or by better balanced sword, I mean like one that's actually designed to have that forward, downward weight. Let me guess. You dipped out then back in.
I heard
Yeah.
down wait, and that was it.
Oh, okay. Not that when I say like improper, balanced sword, what I mean is like maybe actually have like a sword to practice with that's actually designed to have that weight come down and be treated like a chopping weapon, almost like an axe, and also to have a better understanding of how to use a shield. And if I do that, then that doesn't make the previous experiment invalid. It just makes it, the first step to the next one. So anyone got anything to say on that, or?
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, if you're experimenting and whatnot, you're not really working with something that's like. You're not really working with something that's like surefire or whatnot. You're working with theoreticals here. Theoretically, if I do this with this, it should work like this. Does it? No. You might have to tweak it a little bit in order to get it to work that way, but like you're not working with something that's like something with like that's it's like you're not working with with absolutes at that point. You're working with theoreticals at that point.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, even when you're working with something that is deeply sourced, unless it is a hard and fast algorithmic science like algebra or most fields of physics, it's still not that hard and fast. Like, if you're dealing with like people, you're not dealing with anything hard and fast. And
Right.
swordsmanship
Exactly.
is very much dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we have all these sources, it's still not hard and fast. There's a lot of room for interpretation and error, and
Yeah, for example,
perhaps
one person-
even improvement.
I can do his
Also, where you
Vorkal,
pick and choose.
and Trisket can do his Vorkal. We would do his Vorkal very differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're doing the
And-
same technique, but our personalities, whether like
And our
Trisket wants
bodies.
to go aggressive. Like exactly.
Yeah, and it's kind of going what I was saying about earlier about like everyone being able to come into their own using those techniques.
Mhm.
Like one person may use it offensively, another person might use it aggressively,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
and it's just a matter of just that experimentation at that point, and them being able to practice that and perfect that to be able to suit that use.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I gotta say, this might be one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded, and I'm glad that it's not just us clowning on someone for being stupid. Like, there's actually like genuine discussion to have and all that.
In fact, I agree with him a lot more than I disagree with him. Like,
I'd say it's
Yeah.
about.
I
Well,
think it's
actually,
just
most of my
like
criticisms have been on delivery, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's.
well, that's I think that's what it's seeming like so far through
Yeah.
is that once you get to see like his main point, like what he's really trying to say, once you see past like the bad delivery and whatnot, I think he makes some generally good points
Yeah,
here.
he's got good ground to stand
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
I mean,
But we'll see if he keeps this up the whole way though.
I mean, there was that fucking anime comment that he made.
Don't touch
yeah, it
grass.
was silly. It was just condescending for no other reason than being condescending.
Yeah.
Think of any off the top of my head. I did one a while back where I said that leg hits are bad and they don't work. And then I started training with somebody who showed me exactly how you can do valid leg attacks. And so I changed my mindset and I made a video about it. I called myself out. And I've done that a number of times.
Okay, well, I mean, that's good. That's mature. And if that's what he means by missing information or context that makes something invalid, then sure, absolutely. Like having completely
Well, if he's
lost
learning from
sight of an entire field of combat, yeah, that could actually very easily affect your view on said combat.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of getting a little bit of PTSD when he said like it's aren't really all that great. Just like, because of the fact that it's probably the closest thing to you aside from their hand. You have no idea how much I was scared about getting hit in the knee whenever I'm fencing.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a reason I moved like an Energizer bunny. There's a reason. I need those. I need those.
I
So-
need these to live.
I need these to get around. I still need these at least for maybe like a good 2 decades. You know, at least.
And you're an
After
Olympic
those,
fencer, right?
maybe.
Do you have protection for your knees?
No.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I
well,
can
for
see
the
why,
shin, yes, but not for the knees.
mhm.
So
That's so stupid.
It is
I agree.
very.
like,
Although, actually, I think some Olympic fencers, am I mistaken? Some Olympic fencers do wear knee pads?
some do, but a lot of people, and I guess it could be just an interpretation thing, but a lot of people read that as like they don't really move their knees as much, so it's an easy target. So it's kind of a hint there.
Mm.
But really, officially, there is no protection there, as it's not. I mean, it is in Epee at least, but it's not like. How do I put this? It's not one of the prime targets you go for.
Who gives a
Like-
shit if it's a prime target? If it's a
Exactly.
target, then protect
Exactly.
it.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah,
You feel
if
like-
you can put the
Yeah.
guy out of the fight without killing him, let him go back home and see his family, fucking go
Right.
for it, man.
Right.
Do that. Yeah.
Actually, wait.
and that's,
Hold
and
on,
that's why I
East.
said, like,
Sorry, real quick. East, the duelists. Weren't there a couple times where that happened?
I don't think I've
when
seen
what
that.
happened?
Is it
Leg
good?
attacks.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah, and that's based on a true story, right?
Yes.
The fuck this? Yeah,
Well,
this
okay,
man
and
was
that's
just
why I
being
said-
silly when he was on about no working leg attacks.
They're really quick, but
And that's why I said that, like, it's not like quote unquote official main target. It still happens. Oh God, does it still happen?
Yeah, if I could put a
Like-
guy out of a fight without killing him, I'm gonna go with that.
Hell,
Yeah.
there's a whole community within that sport where they try to get the same experience as this one old French fencer where all he does is foot touches. That's all he does. He hits the foot.
Ow.
You know from experience, Trisket. Ow.
Yeah.
So there's a whole community.
Oh
of
wait,
guys where
hey,
they-
wait a minute.
they try to recreate that. But yeah, like it's sorry, it's just like he says like, oh no, it's not a great protect. He's like, oh man, you don't know that fear, my friend. You don't know that fear.
Dual epee instead of longsword for once, and you will understand.
Oh my god.
Look, I remember coming
It's
home with some
just
bruised
so-
knees and fencing.
It's just so-
Like
because with Epee, I'm imagining it a lot of Capo Ferro and with Capo Ferro. With Capo Ferro, you put your entire body behind that strike, and all of that is going into your knee. Oh my god!
Yeah, that
It's
does
fine.
happen sometimes.
Fine.
yo,
That's
okay.
crazy.
The closest experience I had with this was there's this one time I went to a competition, and there's this one chick. I was about to say her name, but for confidential
please don't
purposes,
dox
I'm gonna
anyone.
leave it out. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's this one chick who was just like, okay.
yeah, we're
she
not
was
Swifties.
nicknamed-
We don't dox people.
She was nicknamed.
What did
Wild
you say about not being a
because-
Swifty?
I said we're not Swifties. We don't dox people.
Who's we?
Who's
Oh fuck! Oh fuck!
Who are we?
I
Who am
do I need to make the
Open up your
joke
mouth.
about the
Okay,
about the
no, look-
Muslim looking at people's homes?
Okay. Look at the Watch Together. Look at my name on Watch Together.
Oh boy.
Um,
Oh no.
Hamoud Al Taylor.
East?
What?
Yeah. Oh, what?
What?
Never mind. Continue,
Well.
my good sir.
I wasn't.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
say anything.
But yeah, well, we'll just call her Wildcat because that's what they nicknamed her.
Mhm.
Because every time she would attack, she sounded like a wildcat. And every time she would make an attack, you would hear her across the whole thing. But anyway, I had one round against her where I don't know how the fuck she managed to do this. But okay, so there's this move that we have that we call the flesh, where, I mean, I wouldn't suggest using this in an actual fight, but basically, you turn yourself into an arrow in a split second.
Hence
as
the
sort of
name
surprise
Fletch.
attack. Yeah, but it's kind of all or nothing sort of all or nothing sort of
The
attack.
Mega Lunge.
But
Yes.
Basically,
Like you
basically.
straight up just lean forward as much as
Like-
possible and sprint.
Oh yeah.
you basically let you basically use that falling momentum as an attack,
Mm.
as a concept. But anyway, I don't know how the fuck she managed to do this, but she managed to flesh. But the normal targets that you would normally hit with a move like that is hand, arm, head, chest, maybe the hip at the lowest. But she managed to hit my shin. Square in the middle.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't
I
want
thought you
to.
said she managed to hit my shit, and I went, "Wow, how did she do that?"
She fucking bent the sword. She somehow telepathically bent the sword so it would
She
go directly
teleported
up this
behind
man's rectum. Exactly.
No, she just got that low. I don't know. I didn't even think that was possible. She
Well,
just
I mean-
got that low and launched herself from that low. She
Pardon
wasn't even that strong
pardon
guy,
me.
but-
Pardon me if this sounds
burst into
pardon-
flame.
pardon me if this sounds perverted, but women tend to have the ability to just do things that we can't. So
Yes, like childbirth.
yeah.
Comparing childbirth to this action.
what I mean is
It's a
like,
technique.
they're typically able to they're able to contort their bodies in ways that we naturally can't. So I can see how they're able to get that
Oh,
low.
yeah, they are.
Wasn't
Like-
meant in that way, but yeah.
all I know is that to this very day, I'm still trying to figure this shit out. To this very day.
Oh, bye,
All I
Fetty.
know is that the bout started the moment we got into range. One moment she was there, the next moment she was gone. I feel a sharp pain in my shin, and she's behind me.
Mhm.
And after that, every round after that, I couldn't move. It wasn't until after the bout ended that I actually noticed I was bleeding.
Oh, that's bad.
I just know, like,
Wait, is shin
I
a
just
legal
know I
target in
couldn't-
Epee?
Yep, everything
again?
is legal target in Epee.
Really?
Oh,
I
wow,
thought
really?
They had like a
well,
rule.
that's why I had to like specify the official
No,
quote
it-
unquote big quotation marks targets.
In
Even though you can
foil,
be
there
hit
are
anywhere.
rules where you can hit.
Oh, that's
Mm.
Yeah, in
Foil and
Saber,
safe.
it's everything above the waist.
L.
Yeah.
L. I got so many. Ugh, L. Everything above the waist. Catch me outside.
Yeah, like it's sorry, like I had ooh. Sorry, that instilled that statement just kind of instilled a primal level fear for me. So it's like
Like
I had to
attacks
speak
don't
on
work.
this man does not understand that fear. That is very clear to me now.
I like how he's looking right at you, like, oh my god, did that happen?
Sorry, I just ooh. Sorry. Anyway, we can keep going. I just had to get that out.
Oh
of my
no, that
system.
like again, insight. Like that was really
Yeah.
that was a good story.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And anybody worth their salt should be able to do that. We did an experiment recently where we used these foam greatswords, and like I said earlier, foam is not steel, so it wasn't a completely valid experiment to show one-to-one how these things would have worked. But we also said that caveat in the video. From the beginning, we laid out the idea that this was not an experiment to show exactly how greatswords would have been used in crowd control. It was a thought experiment because we couldn't accurately represent how greatswords would work because it's too dangerous to fence full force with steel greatswords.
I mean, you could probably just wear thicker padding and armor.
Yeah.
No, even so, you could hit the head, and I've seen someone get concussed. So
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
Mm.
I've seen if there's another TikToker. He's a Scotsman, and he does this guy's job a lot better than he does. And his name is Brody Toriati. Excellent swordsman. And he actually did a great sword demonstration with multiple people about like how to use it. So
Okay. Yeah. Feel free to send the link, and I can plug that in the,
I know him
in
from
the episode.
TikTok, but a lot of you guys don't have the Chinese spyware, so I don't know if he has a YouTube. I'll have to check, but yeah.
Well, either way, I could still put the link in, the description of the video when this goes
yes.
live.
Yeah, if you could probably just put like the name that he goes under on TikTok. I mean, we could probably look it up ourselves if we have TikTok.
Yeah, I don't have TikTok, so because I don't really ascribe to the Chinese spyware. So
Oh, well,
it's a joke. It's a joke. So
Well, I mean, it's still Chinese spyware. But...
Oh
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
the
like,
guy I'm
even-
referring to, he worked on the last Duel Outlaw King. Yes.
Really?
This guy's a well-known swordsman.
Oh, okay.
cool.
Damn.
Brody Toriati.
all right.
Impressive.
Why do you have
Like,
such cool friends?
Because I'm on TikTok, dude. That's why. I just talk to people.
Mm.
And I don't like it's not about like the Chinese spyware. I just talk to people. Oh, and also Warren helped me out with a lot of people. I'm not gonna say his last name for disclosure reasons, but he put me in touch with a lot of people.
That's one of the Ren Fair guys, right?
Yes, and so I'm over in SoCal near LA, and LA has Hollywood, so a lot of the people I know are Hollywood like people.
I'm
So-
closer to
Gotcha.
Hollywood than you are, but
I know, but
Thanks
I
for
didn't
flexing.
want to disclose. I didn't want to disclose your location. So
I've already made clear that I live in the LA area, but I don't
live
like to
close
disclose
where
where
he lives,
exactly.
So yeah, I live close to where he lives. So we both have a lot of these same people nearby. So yeah, I just talk to them and then.
Well, that's dope.
I live in Westmoreland, Tennessee. Good fucking luck.
You sound like you live in Westmoreland, Tennessee.
See, the concept of having a sound that specifies exactly where you're from is kind of a funny concept to me.
I'm just a poor black guy. That's it.
I was born a poor black child.
Is I a poor urban youth?
A poor urban youth.
There we go.
So we had to make a compromise there if we wanted to do the experiment at all. When a presenter gives you that information, when they give you that caveat, you can trust them a little bit more. And I realize it might seem like I'm just talking myself up right now, but what I'm trying to do is give you a baseline of what you should expect.
Hey guys, sorry to do this to you all, but this has been going for a lot longer than I thought it would, and I have to go.
Oh, all right. You have yourself a good
so-
night, man. Rest
Yes,
well.
you as
Indeed.
well. I wish I could say it was nice to meet some of you. And I will come back and watch the rest of this when it's uploaded and all that. And I hope to. I hope our paths cross again.
Indeed.
All right.
Especially not Rogard.
I'm used to it.
Well, shit.
He's the joke being he's my friend. He's in my server, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love you all, and you have very pretty not faces that I can't see because you all have PFPs. So
Oh.
goodbye.
All right.
Okay, have a good one.
See ya.
Seer?
Yep.
Oh.
See ya.
Like the
Boom, that
vision?
Going to be
Yep.
a lot more, I guess, less racist.
Good night, you fucking cunts.
Good night, you white bastard.
They passed their
This
perception check
is
there.
come.
I
We
see.
do not become less racist. We become more racist.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh no. Good heavens.
Good heavens.
Don't you know
My
we
brothers.
are right wing extremists.
we're yes, we're the Nazis that they refer to.
Not the ones that could be confused for anyone else, just straight up the Nazis.
Yeah.
I see.
the ones foretold in those stories.
I like how we're saying
That's
that,
the
but
Old
like
Testament.
this podcast is currently darker than chocolate milk with fucking Hershey's melted into it. Then again,
Oh,
it's cum, so
fuck.
maybe it's all white. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Are you the only white person here? No, there's a Greek man. But are you olive or are you white? That's the real question.
He's white.
No.
What? You mean me?
Yes, I am.
No.
I'm basically a mutt. I'm a mix.
As am I. I am black presenting, but I am effectively a mutt.
I guess I could say like I'm probably like cream coffee colored.
Black presenting.
Yep.
Time.
One more time, sorry.
I feel like that just killed Trisket just now.
Black presenting. The fuck does that mean? That's the same fucking language that trans people use, like femme presenting. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
You see how confusing it is, right? You see how fucking confusing it is. Yeah, you shit. Fucking
But you're black. There's no presenting.
yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah.
secretly a member of the KKK.
Oh,
Dun dun dun.
the plot thickens.
Yeah. This plot is thicker
Wasn't
than
there a
Uncle
movie that
Ruckus's
did that?
ass.
Oh no.
You say about Uncle Ruckus.
Sorry, but you were saying
What was I saying? What was dude saying?
no.
Hey.
Habib was trying to say something.
Ah.
Mode. Oh, you
Yeah, give him a minute. I like my podcast like I like my coffee. Dark as fuck.
smells like the soul.
Oh yeah, there's this other podcast that I watch called the Snark Tank, and whenever
Mhm.
Chris can't show up because he's the white Hispanic guy, it's just some black guy and Tom Sweeney, so it's just two black guys. and so
And
whenever
yet
Chris
you
can't
still
show
call
up,
this the cum call?
what?
And yet you still call this the cum call? When you are the only white member here?
Mhm.
Besides,
I'm really
of
not
course,
even that
Miguel.
white.
I
Like,
beg your
listen,
pardon?
I
have
know I
met
was
you in
laughing at black
person.
presenting,
I beg
but I
your
am
pardon?
white presenting. I am what you call passing.
Yo, if
Dude,
it
you are
wasn't
not
him,
white
it was gonna
presenting,
be
you
me
are
that
white
was-
present, past, and future. What the fuck are you saying?
You are so white that you are all three of the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, motherfucker.
White present.
Listen,
about?
if he wasn't gonna ask that, I'm just saying.
And I'm not the one that came up with black presenting.
Hey, it's true. I am black presenting. However, I am effectively a mutt. I don't even know, like,
You're a white man in everything
What
but
my-
skin.
what? That doesn't even make sense.
He's even using the word.
Oh, I'm losing my fucking mind.
Mm.
The video was 10 minutes long and we didn't even get through.
Just you.
No, we really didn't.
Jesus, we've been here for 3 hours.
Come
From
on,
about-
let's
If there
walk
are
through this one.
caveats or if there are restrictions to the experiment testing process, they should be stated to the viewer and not just glossed over.
Yes, I agree.
So how do you, the viewer, know when a presenter is worth listening to? Well, we've already talked about a couple of things, but there's some other things you should be watching for. If they're talking about how to use a sword, they should use a sword. They should fence. Not everybody has to go to a tournament and win.
No, that's true.
Well, what about people who have never, like the machete fighters?
They know how to use swords. If they fight with machetes,
Well, yeah,
they know
but
how to use.
that's not fencing.
If you know the body mechanics involved, then you're fine. He's specifically talking to people who don't know the body mechanics, because, like,
Right.
if you've actually used a tool, I would say tool or piece instead of a weapon, especially on Discord. But if you use a tool like that, you need to, know the body mechanics behind it. If you don't, then you're just talking out of your ass essentially.
Right.
Yeah. Because machete fighters, I would count them as fencers because they know what they're talking about. Jiu-jitsu people who do like martial arts, I would say they have a pretty good grasp of their body mechanics, so that they wouldn't be great fencers unless they know more fencing, but they would be considerably better than someone who has it's a couch potato. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And I would also point out the whole, don't people who have studied history, can't they have like an idea? But he actually does put that caveat in later, so.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess that's been cleared up then.
I've read historical sources. They don't talk about swordsmanship. You need to find sword sources.
Right.
You need to find something
That's true.
extra.
That's true. We're not talking about historical application. We are talking about swordsmanship specifically. So yeah,
Exactly.
that is fair. That is fair.
Right.
Because if you're just talking about the application of a weapon, well, then you can study history. But if we're talking how it functions from a mechanical, bodily perspective, then you should probably have practiced with it at least a little bit.
From a technical standpoint.
Yeah.
Gold to be worth listening to. I fence and train under a number of different people who don't compete in tournaments because they don't like to, but they're still amazing instructors and fencers. No, they have to do the art. If you don't do the art, you cannot talk about how to do the art. Now, there are people who are historians who don't fence, and they have valid insights about the history of these weapons, but they don't have an understanding of how they would have been used. You cannot understand how these things would have been used just by studying books. You have to pick one up, and you have to do it. And preferably, you should do it with steel and full gear.
I largely
If you
agree
want
with
to
that.
do harness fectin,
I can agree with that. Yeah.
If you want to do harness fectin, if you want to know how a sword would feel like, okay, I'm gonna talk about a story, so it might be a little bit. But when I went to my last competition, they forced me to gear up. I went in there wearing a gambeson. That was it. A gambeson and a helmet. They forced me to put on so much gear that I could not use my sword the right way. Do you see how much of an issue that is?
That is an issue. Yeah.
I trained in unarmed fighting, so the way Trisket knows how I fight, it's very flowy.
Yeah, it's very
I
mobile.
can't-
You're like water,
Yeah.
dude.
I can't do that if I'm in full armor. I turn into a rock, and my sword becomes a hammer. A sword is not supposed to be a hammer, but with all the gear you have on, especially hand protection, your sword becomes a hammer.
It effectively becomes one, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when he says you need to put some gear on to do fucking what? Have a hammer? To do boo hurt? Fuck off, dude. I'm fighting with a sword.
Let me get cut open if I lose.
Yeah, that teaches me not to lose. That's my
learning experience.
literally. It's a learning
I've got no
experience.
hand, but it was a learning experience. I'll do better next time.
And obviously, I don't mean steels, because steels are gonna hurt you a lot. I mean synthetics.
Yeah, I've seen what plastic
right,
can
right.
do. Don't.
Oh yeah,
use
you
steel.
felt what plastic can do. So have
Yo.
I.
Yeah,
plastic hurts.
that's.
That can fuck you up. That can fuck you
Yep.
up.
But plastic teaches you not to get hit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You've seen the way that my ability to move has altered over the admittedly short time that we've been able to fight.
Yeah.
And it's not much, but and even even Millie here can attest to this. Both of you have seen me change how I move a little bit. Although to be fair, I think knowing more about the body mechanics of longsword really helped me understand,
Oh yeah.
you know, the body a bit more, especially since, like, you know, Olympic fencing is much more linear. You know, it's like you can't utilize the room to your advantage. You're stuck on this little strip.
Right.
But both of you have seen how I've learned and evolved and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen how you guys have learned and evolved, although admittedly, you know,
Less so with me.
yeah, no, it's less so with actually Milos, because
Oh, wow.
he was already very, very skilled by the time I met him and practiced.
Yeah. Well, then you've seen a lot more of like my growth, like how
Yeah,
I've changed from.
because I've seen you practice with more tools, and I remember there was that one time when you got really good with longsword out of fucking nowhere, and it scared me.
And then I just lost.
Yeah, you lost it. You lost it in the next bout. I don't know what happened there.
I feel that. I feel that. You're in the zone, you're in the groove, then somehow, for some odd reason, you forget what the fuck you're holding. I feel that so much.
Dark Souls boss fights in a nutshell.
Oh God, yeah.
Now, because HEMA and fencing are not as popular as anime and fantasy and things like that, it can be hard to find legitimate swordsmen online to follow and watch content from. So I've done the work for you, and I have found a number of different channels who do awesome swordsmanship that's based in...
Yeah, no, these are very based channel selections.
False Edge. He's my fucking homie. I love that man to death because he's kind, he's humble, and his fencing style is immaculate. Fucking immaculate. I've seen the way that he fight. After this video, if you can put up at least a small tidbit of False Edge, please do.
Like one of his shorts or something?
One of his shorts or one of like the way, just anything showcasing his fighting potential.
Yeah, and seriously, everyone, like even the channels that have been the subject of much of our criticism and discussion today, I would recommend everyone on screen right now, even Sellsword Arts and Shad, with the caveat that you should probably understand that most of what he does is more for entertainment rather than education.
Bjorn over here, Bjorn Ruther, he taught me Dusak, and I learned a lot of my saber from him. I incorporate a lot of German techniques because of Bjorn Ruther. Very, very, very good. And False Edge, I love this man to death. Absolute, like, Chad. This guy knows what
He's got a bitchin' mustache. I believe.
I wouldn't consider myself a swordsman compared to him. That's how much I respect this man.
Wow. That's that's saying something.
Indeed.
I appreciate that. But yes, False Edge, absolute. If you want to learn how to fight awesomely, watch False Edge.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I'm geeking out over.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
That's fine. That's fine.
You're a good dude. You're good.
As an Olympic fencer, you would just look him up. You would love what he does.
I
Because he does
already
a lot of
subscribed to him.
Oh,
I already
yeah.
subscribed, so I know him, and yo, he's good. He's got good stuff. I like his work.
reality. These are people who actually fence. They practice the art. You can go check them out. They're awesome. And I'll say right off the bat, we're not going to agree on everything. They might say things that counter.
What about because I know, granted, they're less about teaching like the actual combat sport, but what about Adaraya? Because they use real techniques.
Choreographers. They're choreographers.
That is.
I mean, you're not going to learn technique from them.
That is true.
Unless you really, really look at what they're doing. Whereas Bjorn teaches you everything. He does step by step. False Edge makes an effort in teaching you. So Adoraya, on the other hand, they don't really do that.
They're
great
true.
for
Yes.
showing. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's understandable.
Contradicts things that I say, and I might say things that contradict things that they say. But that doesn't make them invalid. It just means they have a different opinion. You know, they could know something that I don't know, or I could know something that they don't know. But these are legitimate fencers, and they make good content. So definitely check them out.
And the funny thing is, actually, a lot of historical sources would contradict each other, and not just in sword technique, but in what it means to be chivalrous, or, you know, the going-ons and events of the world and all that stuff. Because it turns out people are people. We are complex creatures, and we sometimes don't get along.
We let a lot of our personal biases affect a lot of what we do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like we talked about that earlier. How our even when we're being good faith, let's just expound upon what we said earlier. Even when we're being good faith, our personal experiences will color what we are going into the future.
Oh yeah.
That's why I firmly believe that you don't choose what you believe; you just choose how you engage with it. Although you could use that argument to say that we possibly don't have free will. I'm not sure I would go that far. I think you do have free will, and even if we don't, we should still say that we do to, encourage personal responsibility.
In other words, don't be an asshole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you could be an asshole, just don't be a dick.
Be an asshole if it's what your character would do.
It's what my character would do, But meanwhile, it's the player
You got my
groping
character
the
down
lady's
right
boobs.
Right.
like he's straight up just sexually assaulting another person on the table. It's what my character would do. It's like, bro,
Jesus
those are not your character's hands.
Those are two completely different things, man. One of these things is not like the other.
Ludonarrative dissonance, man.
I see somebody using that in a court of law as a
Yep.
How do I see
Because it more than likely would happen.
I-
It more than likely
Okay,
would happen.
you know what the fucked up
that?
thing is?
Terrified me.
You know what the fucked up thing is? Because of the way humans are, statistically speaking, if we came up with it, someone probably did it.
Oh,
Mhm.
I mean, I figured that. It's just like the concept of that is just that's terrifying.
Yeah,
That-
and if they-
Alec Baldwin didn't shoot that lady. The character he played shot that lady.
It's what my character would do.
Fucking hell, that did happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
The boss baby seriously killed someone, though.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He went from boss baby to mob boss baby.
Bro.
And the last thing that I want to say is it's not bad to love fantasy and anime and video games and things like that. I love them, I play them, I watch them. And
You should probably spend that time practicing your swordsmanship instead.
You just told everyone to touch grass.
That
What the
got him.
fuck?
That got
You
him.
really did. Like,
God damn it, man.
Yeah, like
How dare you watch Naruto? Go out and train! Pick up that sword!
I don't give a shit who Sasuke is. He's gay and cringe.
Sasuke, I hate it.
200 squats, he is no one to me, says Zangief.
Can he do a Zwerkow? No. Then get back in the fucking food line.
Can Goku do his work, how?
Do you even Zornhound?
Does
Do you
Goku
even-
wear armor?
This man is like that. Dost thou even wear armor?
I don't even get mad when a character does reverse grip in some silly fantasy series because
I do, because that is actually one of those things that is so gay and cringe that it's like, nah, just stop.
Ahsoka.
Yes,
Oh
unironically.
god, don't even get me started on that bitch.
Like the only fucking thing that the reverse grip is good for is stabbing downwards, but you could get the same effect by just rotating your arm.
No, it's better if you stab downwards, like you hit that area in near the clavicle, that you use reverse grip for that. If you stab down, then it just hurts your arm.
Mm.
I do not know this from
But that's
experience. This is simply speculation.
Well, I mean, you might get like finer angles on it, but if we're speaking, if we're speaking in like general terms,
Yeah.
just may as well stab downward anyway.
Though
It's-
reverse grip does work especially well with like daggers that are
Oh
small.
yeah, if you have a
getting that, you know.
right, if you have a short enough weapon for that, something that's a bit more compact, so you can use it effectively that way.
Yeah.
With what it's supposed to be called, ice pick grip.
Like, is that actually the technical term?
Yeah, ice pick grip is the correct term.
I did not know that.
It's fake, and it doesn't matter. The issue is people have a hard time differentiating between that fantasy and the reality of how these things would work
If
because
they're
they just don't have
children.
So what you're
If
saying
they are
is
children.
people are stupid.
So hold on. Okay, I understood that as a child, I had a hard time being able to understand that Naruto is complete bullshit. I knew it was like fiction, but I'm not gonna go into too much detail. 'Cause I did try it once as a child. I also tried the Kamehameha just to see if I could do it. I was a child.
That's how we
what
learn.
kids do.
That's how we learn.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's how we make that border between fiction and reality. That's how we do it.
But I want to see the motherfucker that watched Noragami and was like, legitimate swordplay.
Oh my god.
I think his point just... we were talking about this earlier, but his point just devolves back to that 2010 argument. Like, dude, we have progressed so far from there, and your audience, you know this, because your audience is like this. I've seen your YouTube comments, I've seen your TikTok comments. Your audience is older. Your audience knows what you're talking about. I don't understand the need to say that, oh, it's not like anime. Yes, we fucking know that. We know that. Like, what are you adding more to this conversation, dude? Scalagrim. I could watch a 2-minute Scalagrim video and he would tell me exactly what you're telling me, you know? It's...
Yeah, from 10
Come
years
on.
ago, by the way.
Exactly. And back then it
That's
was
what
actually...
most of his videos are about.
And
Most of it,
Scalagrim
anyway.
would not have come off as, like, better than anyone else. He would have come off as better just because he was better. Like, he was actively a better swordsman. Of course, now he's had injuries and he's nowhere near as good as anymore, but... Scalagrim answered this question already,
Yeah.
man. You're making content for content. Just call it as it is. And I understand you're not going to call it as it is because it's your content, and I respect that. But come on,
Well,
don't
honestly,
make beef over content.
If we just own up and say, nah, this is like, I'm dragging this out for content purposes, then it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, obviously. But that goes
he's
without
not.
saying.
He's not going to say that, but it's like
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, that goes without saying, much like, the whole experimentation is more for fun rather than education. But there are children on the internet, even though I don't think that they should be. But there are children on the internet, and that is something that we need to keep in mind. That said, if there are any children watching my channel, fucking stop.
Get out!
Drink
Out! Be gone!
Go away.
Yes, go
go
to
make
Auschwitz
Roblox.
and die.
Oh,
Go
wow.
to hell. Burn.
Oh wow!
Perish.
Go to hell. I just told him to go to fucking.
We don't want to
Meanwhile,
hear. We're talking about things that are not.
I
quite-
just
Go
told him
to
to go
the
to fucking
place where
Auschwitz,
your
not
soul-
hell. Jesus.
Go. I mean, they're getting gas, so it's the same difference.
In short, don't watch this channel. We're using very mean words. We're saying mean things or meanies.
Yeah, sometimes we get called fats online.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking- the way you responded to that too. Yeah. Okay. That's enough.
exposure to them. But if you watch good content, you're critical of the presenter, you understand how experiments are formulated, and you check out awesome sword channels, you can learn more about how these things are actually used, and that'll lead to you enjoying swords and swords media even more.
Not necessarily, because if you're like a super pedantic or autistic person, you could actually learn more about the mechanics of swords and how they work, see the lack of it functioning properly in real media,
annoyed,
and
yeah.
get frustrated. But a lot of other people will be able to just, understand, oh, well, this is fake, this is bullshit, I know, so let's just enjoy the flashy colors. Meanwhile, there are people that are in between, like me, that's like, I'm gonna enjoy the flashy colors, but I also enjoy breaking things down because I think it's fun, so let's do both.
And I think it's more so that like we put an emphasis on towards these developers or towards these movie makers to try to do it accurately so that we can appreciate it. Like the
Yeah.
more people that know about it, the more people are going to call you out on your bullshit. Like with Napoleon. The more
Yeah,
everyone knew
yeah.
about Napoleon. That's why everyone called you out. You know?
Exactly.
The more people have knowledge about something, the more there's going to be an uproar if you fuck up.
Exactly. That's why nobody complains about the without going into spoilers, the plan at the end of Godzilla -1, because even though that if you ask a physicist that wouldn't work, but nobody knows that.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
the movie also presents it in a way that's like, yeah, it can work. And they were also like, we're not even sure that this will work.
Yeah. It was just they needed it to get done.
Yeah, which, you know,
I
it's
love
like,
that
okay,
movie.
you're fucking with physics a little bit. That's, you know, a little borked, but, you know, you present it in a believable way, and
I mean,
you're
this
not
movie
using
is about a
something. You're not using
gigantic
something that
fucking
obviously
dinosaur,
doesn't work.
so this movie's about a gigantic dinosaur going around eating cities.
Yeah,
So
I
it's like,
know,
you
I know, but it's like, well, but still, even within those fantasy elements, you could still present something that's like, okay, obviously we're presenting something beyond fantastical, but how would the world and the people respond to it? You know, and like, how does this thing function? And as long as you are able to follow the set of rules that you have set out for yourself, make it appear realistic, then you are ostensibly being realistic. That's verisimilitude, is what that is.
Mhm.
And I would say like it also kind of works like in like the other way as well. Like take for example the way the Katana fandom has kind of like changed and whatnot. The
Yes.
more people actually understood like, you know, what was it? How was it made? How was it used? And like the reality behind the sword or behind that particular sword. I mean, it does diminish like the grandeur and the you know, the magic behind it, but you could still appreciate it in a more realistic sense. It's not that it's like an entirely bad sword in general.
Yeah,
But
I love
it's-
the katana.
It makes
I love it as well.
I don't
but
like it.
it's still you're
Cringe.
still able to appreciate it for what it is.
Well, yeah,
in
but
a,
you're
in a
you.
realistic sense. So, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Get it.
the reality of it. So it can also work in that sense as well.
Absolutely. The more we understand about something, the more we have the ability to speak on it.
And to
In
even
short,
appreciate
people
it.
are going to people are gonna call out bullshit when they call bullshit.
Mhm.
Mhm. Like that's, I guess, for my own experience, I've learned a lot about storytelling and, like I said, verisimilitude. And the more consistent that you can make something internally, the more believable it is. That's why I'm very, very critical of movies, because I believe that they're capable of greatness, and there are, even within absolute piles of shit, usually there are still gems that could be refined, and it's like, okay, well, there's something that we can work with here. There's something to appreciate.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
You know, some people think that I hate movies because of that, but no, I wouldn't invest this much energy into movies and to storytelling if I didn't love it as a craft.
Mhm.
So,
And that's what makes, you know, finding those real gems a lot more spectacular.
oh yeah,
you know?
like Ravenous.
Right.
I watched Ravenous for the first time yesterday. Fucking beautiful, man. Great movie.
I'm sorry.
Ravenous. Yes.
Ravenous.
I don't think I've ever heard of this.
When this call is done, I'm gonna show it to you.
Okay.
Because
Is that the only thing you'll be showing to him?
You don't sound too sure. You don't sound too sure.
I'm not that gay. Listen, I might be queer, but I am not a no.
That's exactly what that is, though.
No. One is being a pussy, the other is being gay. There's a massive difference. In fact, gay people are explicitly anti-pussy.
Wow.
I mean,
I-
he's not wrong.
You're right, but at the same time,
He's out of line, but he's right.
yeah,
That's pretty solid, actually.
yeah, it's
Just like a gay man.
fairly solid. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I know, I'm thinking
Motherfucker.
about this one too. Pretty.
Fuck.
I mean, I know that it's referencing genitalia, but solid. Like,
No, a lot of gay men have big muscles and big peens.
I'm
don't get it.
gonna leave that one there. I'm gonna leave that one there.
I'm
You know
just
what?
gonna. I'm just gonna-
Maybe it's true. The gay community is not very solid. In fact, it's very liquid.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one there too.
Yeah.